Welcome, everyone, to Chirping Zebras, episode 83, the Wes Welker episode. Or, of course, if you're Tom Menino, our former mayor, Wes Weckler. Mark Riley, alongside Gino Binda Jr., as always, coming to you from AOA Studios here in Beverly. Great place to tape podcasts or audiobooks or anything you want to tape. And, of course, I want to thank our sponsors, the original, the OG, the referee's crease. You have the quarter zip on. I have the golf shirt on.
Yeah.
You don't have the golf shirt. I don't have the quarter zip. So
go figure.
You know what?
My father probably gave him one for me, both for me. He was like, you know what, I got to give Riley something.
Yeah, probably.
So you get the shirt.
Seeing that your dad owns it and you can't get a golf shirt. But want to thank the Referee's Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. And, of course, this is our second episode with our new
NHL sponsor.
New NHL sponsor, Damon Financial LLC. For over 24 years, Damon Financial has helped families and business owners grow and protect their wealth with clear, trusted strategies. From retirement planning and investments to tax-efficient solutions, they deliver no-nonsense advice focused on your goals, and you can get a hold of them by calling 508-321-2101, and all their information will be in the description of this episode. And so we want to thank Mike Damon, good friend of the show, and Damon Financial LLC for coming on board and sponsoring the Zebras.
Right on.
And also want to remind you to like and subscribe on YouTube. Smash that button, like and subscribe. Also follow us on all the social medias, the Instagram, the Facebook, and, of course,
the TikTok.
Absolutely. And if you didn't see last episode, I mean, we've been on a run here. Graham Townsend was incredible.
Awesome.
Just, touching on mental health and, not only just the stories and coming from Jamaica, a water polo player. I mean, we learned a lot from him.
And we still got more to go. We got to have him back on.
Yeah, well, we ran out of time with him because he was just so great.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you haven't checked out episode 82, you should. And we continue our run.
Yes.
We have a Bruins legend on with us today. We're super excited to have him. He is, I'd list all his accolades, but it would take me too long. But he's known as Nifty, and he was a former captain of the Boston Bruins, which is a huge honor, a Lady Byng Trophy winner, and we're going to hear all about it today with Rick Middleton. Rick, welcome to the Chirping Zebras.
Thank you. Nice introduction. Thanks, guys.
Well, no, we're thrilled to have you on. I mean, right off the hop, your number hangs in the rafters of the Boston Garden.
I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware of that. Every time I go to a game, I look up. Absolutely.
As you should
cool.
be. I mean, we had Terry O'Reilly on, and now you. So we'll have to work on getting some of the other guys that are up there. But that's got to be a huge
There's a few
honor.
guys that won't take too long getting them up there.
That's true.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be a huge honor. I mean,
I call it the biggest honor, and then, no knock against the Hall of Fame in Toronto, and just because I'm not in there, I'm not saying it. But to me, having your number retired by the team that you played, most of your years, if not all your years worth, and especially after 30 years being out, it was. Talk about a surprise. And in the middle of July when I got the call from Cam.
Okay.
So I wasn't ready for it at all. I actually got a little emotional on the phone, and my wife came home and thought somebody had died. I'm like, no, it's good news.
What was that ceremony like? I mean, just that
Like a reflection of,
It's just got to be incredible.
Well, the one thing that, a lot of people don't realize, after 30 years, I had a lot of people to thank. I mean, a little more than the normal. And I didn't want to forget anyone.
Right.
And Don Cherry was nice enough to come down. He got put in the tradition, the sports museum the night before, so he was there, and it was awesome to have him on the ice. And a lot of my alumni buddies came down. Peter McNabb came in for it, and Dwight Foster and Stan Jonathan, and then you had the former captains on the ice, and then I had some of the sled hockey guys come in and go on the ice, because that was a very important part of my hockey career. Obviously not in Boston, but kind of a great way to finish it off. So it was it was incredible. I hope I can remember it till my last days because I think about it often.
Yeah, and I do want to get into the sled hockey because that's an incredible story. But you know, being a captain for the Bruins, it seems like that's an honor that not many people get to do. But when you think of the captains that the Bruins have had,
Right.
You know,
Well, that's what it's all about. I grew up in Toronto, an original Six city. I saw the history there. You know, believe it or not, the Leafs won 4 Stanley Cups in the '60s, so I was a big Leaf fan. And it was the last time they won one. It was the last time they were in the finals, 1967.
What a playoff game!
Not the Leafs. But I saw the history there, and I was a huge fan. There was only 6 teams, so I knew every player in the league, you know, and the history. So going and getting drafted by New York, another original Six team, I looked up the history, you know, and the captains over the years and who were the great players, and I knew most of it anyways. And then I get to Boston, and the same thing. And, you know, and when I got to Boston, Johnny Busick was still captain, you know, the chief. I mean, it was awesome. And then Wayne Cashman, one of my all-time favorite Bruins, took over as cap.
Yes.
And he kind of handed it down to the next person or player that deserved it and would make a good captain. So when they were nice enough to ask me if I'd like to be, you know, co-captain with Ray Bourque, who I knew was going to stay on for a few years, just to be, you know, considered to be with him. And I think maybe him and I were the only co-captains in the history of the Bruins.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, just another great honor to be thought about like that. And you just want to, I was always the type of guy who's tried to lead by example, you know. And as Ray, you know, he wasn't a big rah-rah guy in the dressing room. Either was I, but we just always try to lead by, you always have different types of leaders.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you know, the captains in my era, Cashman and Busick, they weren't big rah-rah guys. They just led by example on the ice.
I feel like that's how all the captains, like even like Chara, I feel like he's the same way, and you know, Bergeron.
Yeah. Usually, very often, it's the guys that work the hardest, the grinders, the guys that maybe don't have a position every year. They find that they're the rah-rah guys in the dressing room. They're the loud guys. They get everybody going.
Right.
And and you always hear about dressing room guys.
Right.
And how valuable they are. So they don't have to be your first line guys.
Right.
They could be your fourth line guys. You know, I always think that in 2004, when the Red Sox beat the Yankees and came back that year and won the World Series, Kevin Millar was the most valuable player on the team, I think, because he got those guys loose.
Yep.
He got them loose. And those guys are in the dressing room every day.
When you handed out shots before the game, you got to get your boys loose.
He did what he had to do.
He did.
Any means necessary. I'm not complaining. I love that he did it.
It might be something I would have thought of. But yeah, it's you never know who the dressing room guys are going to be, and they're as valuable to a team as your best player.
Now, while we're on the topic, for the current Bruins right now, kind of the captaincy is kind of in the air. I mean, they don't seem to have that guy like the Bergeron, the Chara, like yourself. Like, I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't know. It's because they think that Pasta and McAvoy, if they give it to one, the other's nose will be out of joint, or. You know,
co-captains, baby. Let's do it.
There you go. That would solve the problem right there.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll mention that to Cam.
Do it. Yeah. So you heard from the Zebras.
You heard it first, right here.
Right here.
Absolutely. Yeah, why not? So now you mentioned Don Cherry. I mean, just, you know, is there anyone more colorful than that guy?
No.
What was it like to play for him?
Never at a loss for words. Although I did see him once at a loss for words, and It's the first time I met him. I knew who Don was because when I got drafted by the Rangers, they sent me their first year to their farm team, which happened to be right down the road in Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So I played for the Providence Reds in 1973. I was 19 years old. I was living in Cranston. Cassidy Ave in Cranston. And it was a great year. And then I made it up with the Rangers the next couple of years. But Don was coaching in 73 the Rochester Americans.
Oh, yeah.
And in the American League. So I knew who he was, and we had a few run-ins. And Johnny Winsink was his tough guy. So the first time I met John, right? I'm so happy he came to our team.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I knew who he was, and then I go to New York, and I get traded to Boston, and now Don's the coach in Boston. So not ever meeting him officially. The first day of training camp in Fitchburg, Mass. That's where we had camp back in those days. Well, in those days, you did 2-a-days for 3 weeks before you played a game. You know, you terrorized the city for 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
But, so I get on the ice, and I just met Peter McNabb, who had just got traded from Buffalo. And we're skating around with Wayne Cashman and I think Bobby Schmotz. We're not breaking a sweat yet. We're just loosening up. And Don skates over and he takes his glove off and he sticks his hand out and he goes, "Ricky boy." He always call me Ricky boy. "Hey, Ricky boy, you're looking a little bigger." He says, "You've been working out?" And I go, "No, Don, just had a good summer." Well, his jaw dropped, and I don't think he said a word. Bobby Schmotz was laughing so hard he fell on the ice. And I didn't know what I did. I got myself in a lot of trouble. He did play me my first game as a Bruin, and I got a hat trick against the Minnesota North Stars. And he benched me, but he didn't bench me. He just never played me regular on a line because he thought I had, let's put it this way, defensive deficiencies.
Okay.
Like when they retired my jersey, he actually said a few words. And one of his lines was, we had to introduce Ricky to the goalie the first year that he played. So I knew what he meant, right? This is on my retirement night. Come on, dog. But we always had that contentious relationship, and probably right from that first day, that first moment. And so I never played regular all year. I dressed for all the games, but I never stayed on a regular line. So I got 3 my first game. I got 20 in the whole year. And then we go in the playoffs, and we're in the Spectrum playing the Broad Street Bullies.
Yeah.
And they must have finished ahead of us in the standings because the first 2 games are in the Spectrum. And it goes into overtime. So, again, I'm playing, but not on a regular line. So in between the third period and the overtime, he comes over to me and he bends down and he looks at me and goes, "You're going to get the winner." So I look up at him, I said, "So I must be playing, right?" And he just gave me the scowl. And I did. I got the overtime winner against Bernie Perrant that night. My first really big goal in the NHL. And the year before, I never made the playoffs in New York. Now we're one series away from the Stanley Cup Finals. And then Terry scored in double overtime in Game 2, and we knocked the Broad Street Bullies out in 4 games. And unfortunately, we lost 4 straight to Montreal that year. But
Yeah.
So that was our relationship through the whole thing. And then the next year, he played me more, and my goal total went up to 25. And then by the third year, he actually was playing me on left wing. He was moving me around, which was great because I ended up playing left wing for Canada in the Canada Cup in '81. So, it's not really just something you can walk into if you haven't done it before. And the big game in '79 with the too many men on the ice, I was playing left wing with Jean Rattel and Wayne Cashman on the right side. And we scored all 4 goals that game. We had our line was hot. And I love playing the left wing because I always ended up over there coming down anyways, just cutting across. So, he really obviously helped my career. So by the time he left, I was ready for prime time, even though I'd already been in the league 5 years.
Right.
But I was hitting my late 20s, which is, they say, the prime time for your career. And then when Jerry Cheevers came in as coach, and a guy by the name of Barry Peterson came to the team, and Jerry put us together, and we clicked right off the bat.
Yeah.
It was magic. It really was.
Yeah, you guys were incredible together, like a Bergeron, Marchand.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it just clicked, and he was a right-handed center, and me being a right winger, we thought, well, maybe a little trouble getting me the puck on the backhand, but he knew exactly when I wanted it, where I liked it, and he could find me on the ice anywhere in that little Boston Garden, especially. And,
yeah.
I joked because one day I was just interested. I looked up how many points we scored, goals and assists, and together in our 3 years together, we scored over 600 points, like 610. Wow. And put it into perspective, Gretzky only got 618. So
that's awesome.
That puts it into perspective for
Yeah,
sure.
that's funny.
Now you played on that Canada Cup team, Gretzky.
I played in 2. I played in 81, which was probably the best team on paper I ever played on. They had the line from the Islanders, Bossy, Trottier, Gillies. They had a young Wayne Gretzky, a young Ray Bourque, Marcel Dion, Gilbert Perreault. You just keep going. But Perreault broke his ankle in the series, and they asked me if I could play left wing. I said, of course I could play. Don Cherry had played me at left wing, so I ended up on the third line with Kenny Linsman and Danny Gare. And we beat the Russians 7-3 in the round robin. They had that little Michigan in net that they put in place of Tretiak in 1980. This was the same team from 1980.
Right.
And we beat them 7-3, and I scored on Michigan in the third period over the shoulder. And then it was a one-game final in the Montreal Forum, and it was 1-1 halfway through the game. We lost 8-1. That's how they can roll.
Wow.
And they put Tretiak back in the net for that game. And I couldn't, the only time I ever played against him, I couldn't believe how big he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we never really did anything. They played, kind of keep away the puck. They can pass the puck pretty good.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so we didn't get to them early enough, and they just rolled in the third
It's crazy that if you could move the puck, you could control the game.
Yeah.
Like even at the squirt level where my daughter plays now, it's incredible the teams that can just move the puck. It's
keep possession.
Yeah, see you later.
That's it's so much different than the old days where you dump it in, you go get it,
right,
and bang.
Possess the puck.
They would, if they didn't make the blue line the way they wanted to, they'd put the puck back. They trusted their defensemen enough to give them the puck, even back in their own end, and then circle and move it up. And you see a lot of that today. Right?
Yeah.
But back in those days, NHL teams didn't really trust their defensemen enough to let's play that style.
Yeah.
Because they were an all-star team. The Russians, the best players in the whole country are on that team from the Red Army and so on. And they're pretty awesome. But 84, I did play on the line with Gretz. They didn't tell me going in I was going to play with Gretz.
Really?
And I didn't go in the best of shape because after 81, the politics of it, I wasn't going to go, and I changed my mind at the last minute. And then I after about a week of training, they put me on a line with Gretz and Michel Goulet. And why didn't you tell me you were going to do that? I would have worked a little harder over the summer. And then the team never really gelled, and we finished fourth in the round robin. Can you imagine Canada not making the round robin, making the finals? But so we ended up playing the Russians in the semis that year because they finished first. And we beat them 3-2 in overtime. Bossy tipped in a shot from, I can't remember who it was right now, but so we won in overtime against the Russians. And then Eagleson didn't want a one-game final after 81, so he made it a 2 out of 3. So we we played the Swedes in the finals, and we beat them 2 out of 3 to bring the Canada Cup back. But the next year in 80, the time they did it was 87. That's when Gretzky and Lemieux played together.
Yeah.
And probably that's where you see all the highlights from that series. They ended up playing the Russians in the final, and they beat them 2 out of 3 in the final. So it's playing for your country is pretty
cool.
special.
Yeah.
And I'm a U.S. citizen now. I'm proud to say that I'm a dual citizen of both countries. And if I was asked to coach the U.S. Sled hockey team, and I was proud to do that. I was very surprised when that happened.
So you got to play with Gretzky and/or?
No, I didn't get to play with Bobby.
No?
When I got traded in May of '76, Bobby was still on the team, and when I got to training camp in September, he was gone to Chicago.
Oh, that's
biggest sacrilege in sports that happened, and it was let to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how they let that. I would have gone and knocked on his door at 2 a.m. Oh, Bobby, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But Eagleson apparently never told Bobby of the deal the Bruins offered him, and that's what I had heard.
It's criminal.
And recommended he take the Chicago deal, and that's history now.
And Bobby didn't think that the Bruins wanted him.
Well,
right?
because he never heard the deal, apparently.
The deal,
that's what I heard. I don't know what the real facts are.
Right.
But I would think that if he had heard that deal, which apparently was for stock in the ownership of the company, he would probably have taken that. But
Right.
I don't know. I've never spoke to him, and unfortunately, we never were on. I remember playing against him. I remember my best memory of him. I was with the Rangers, and we were at the Garden playing, and we had the power play, and he wouldn't give us the puck. He was around the net and up and down and back. I don't think he let it go for 2 minutes.
Incredible.
Now, I suppose this is a silly question, but in your mind, he's the greatest ever.
Well, yeah. But, I also believe that by era, it's different. And by position, definitely different. And when you look at what Gretz did, it's a different era, you have expansion, blah, 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 all this. But he didn't play with Stanley Cup teams every year he played.
Right.
And he put some incredible numbers up. And just playing against them and, with them, I saw, what a different type of a player he was.
Right.
And for as long as he played at such a high level, and that's another thing. But then you go with Gordie Howe, Rocket Richard.
Yep.
There's so many that you could say Milt Schmidt.
Yeah.
The greatest ever. It isn't always just about the numbers either,
right.
So, but Bobby changed the game at a time when he was just so different than everyone else, just so different, and changed the game because, not a lot more Gretzky's came along,
right?
But and not a lot more Orrs did, but defensemen tried to emulate him and started rushing the puck, and Paul Coffey and these guys, might have got close. Ray Bourque in his early years might have got close. But the one guy I feel bad for is Brad Park. I mean, I played with Brad in New York and in Boston. And he was always in Bobby's shadow, maybe not to his teammates, but to the press and to everybody that gives awards and all that. Brad was like second, and which isn't a bad place to be out of the whole league. But he deserved a lot more recognition, I thought. He was a great leader also. And even Ray will tell you that when he came to Boston, Brad helped him a lot in the early years, become the defenseman he became.
I think the kid Cale Makar, he has potential to be up there as one of the best ever. Like, he is so electric. And I think he's up for free agency next year, maybe.
The thing is, there's so many teams and players and everything. You hardly get to see these guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know the name, but you don't get to appreciate night in, night out how good they are.
Right. Like when he was in college at UMass, I reffed him a couple of times, and just being on the ice with them, like, this kid was just something else. Like, he's next level.
He sees it. It's the vision.
Yeah, it's the vision. Like, even like being like a referee, like, I rec pro hockey for 9 years, so like when I ref college hockey, I can watch the game a little bit slower, and watching him process the game was incredible.
Right.
Like, it was awesome.
Thinking 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
That's what the great ones do. And for a long time, as long as they can stay healthy.
Right.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, Bobby couldn't.
Right.
What if? Right.
Yep. That's and did you ever think Gretzky's records would be broken? I mean, like this Alex Ovechkin.
They say records are made to be broken.
True.
But you never really think that somebody else is going to come along, and he did. But there's one record that may never be broken, and we're part of it. In the Bruins, we had 11 20-goal scorers in 1978, and nobody's broke it since.
No one's come close.
No. In today's game especially.
Right.
11 20-goal scorers on your team.
That's incredible.
Yeah. 10 was the record beforehand, and I don't know if you know how it happened, but we were in Toronto. The weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
And we were up by a goal, so they pulled a goalie. And they ice the puck, and so the face-off comes back into the Toronto zone, and they don't put the goalie back in. I've never seen that.
I'd never seen that either.
No, Roger Nielsen was the coach of Toronto, and so Don made sure that Bobby Miller was on the ice because he had 19 goals and one more goal. Not only would he get a bonus. So he's on the ice. We win the draw over to Bobby Bohm in the empty net.
Thanks
record.
for coming.
Over 40 years later, we had a reunion back in 18 of the 11. Even Don came down for it, and Wayne Cashman was the only guy that couldn't make it. And since when we lost 3 of the guys, unfortunately. But I'm glad that we did it, and that may be a record that
good that he had the wherewithal to put him out there, and like it's like. You know, you talk about hockey intelligence all the time, and you're staying in the moment, right, and not thinking game's bigger than for what it is. And like he's actually thinking of this guy's bonus, getting him out there, a record. Like that's a lot to go on.
About the record, yeah. But for Roger not to put, I'd never seen it in all my years in hockey.
Wild.
I'm sure you have.
No, I'd never seen that.
Never. Face off in your own zone.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody ever. It was in Toronto, so it was probably Hockey Night in Canada, but I never heard the reasoning behind it.
That is crazy. So. Maybe he thought they'd get possession, or
maybe. They'd outnumber us because there were 6-5 on the ice. Even if we win the draw, they'll get the puck, but wasn't the case.
That many 20 goal scorers is just that's insane. I mean, that really
right down to the last game of the year.
Yeah, no, and then in the last couple minutes of the last game.
Yeah, exactly. Last couple minutes of the last game. Yeah.
That's wild. Because, I mean, and for you personally, you had 4 consecutive 40-plus goal seasons, including a 50-goal season.
Right.
52, I believe, right?
51.
51.
Yeah.
So
I got 49 the next year, so I average it out. But
there you go.
The league doesn't look at it that way.
50-goal seasons. There you go.
But that's an incredible
I needed
run.
2 in the last game, and I got 1. And Brad Park said, I actually scored them. I told the ref you did. So why didn't you tell him 2 of them?
But that's a great run.
Oh, it was a great, bunch of years in there. About 6 years from about 78 to 84 were my prime years. And when Barry came in 81, we just went up into the stratosphere. And, we had the best team in the league in 83. We finished first. We had home ice advantage all the way through. And we lost in the 6th to the Islander team that went on to win their 4th cup. Right. So they're always that one team, even though we beat everybody else. There was that one team, Montreal, the Islanders, and then Edmonton later on in the 80s.
I remember my childhood, it was always like the Devils, Pittsburgh. It was just like, it's like, Jesus,
you had, for a certain number of years, they were very tough to beat.
Yeah, they were.
And it doesn't last forever. And in today's, world of the salary cap and such, how long can Florida keep it up?
Right.
It's a little harder maybe today to have a dynasty. And then once you sink down, I mean, look at Toronto, look at Ottawa. It was 10 years ago they were knocking on the door and they haven't got back to it. Buffalo, forgot about it.
Buffalo. We've
I don't know where they're going.
They're just shipping everybody out of town.
They give everyone away.
So it makes it exciting any given year if the GMs make the right moves, the right trades at the right time, and some young guys come on, and you never know.
Yep.
You really never know, and that's the optimism I think that's in Boston right now. Obviously, they don't have the talent that they used to, but they don't really know what they have yet.
Right. I feel like they're the Cleveland Indians in the Major League, right? Who are these guys, right?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
You never know.
No.
And that's the first thing in hockey is defense, and we got the goalies, and the fairly strong defense with Lindholm back and McAvoy healthy and such. They could probably use one more NHL defenseman, but that might be coming. And I think they'll have a better power play. Their special teams were horrible last year. And that's one thing they have to concentrate on. That Marco.
I was going to say, what do you think about the coach? I don't know too much of him as far as coaching goes, but I know he did a great job with the Germany team and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's been highly rated, and his name's been up for a long time as a head coach. So.
He played long enough. He knows the game. I'm sure he's he's been, like you said, he's been in the dressing room. He knows how to relate to the players. He has his own style, I'm sure. I don't know what that is yet, but he seems a level-headed guy.
Yeah,
Not really a screamer, throwing garbage cans like certain coaches I won't mention. But, he's got, he's in a tough position, because he knows how much people want to win here.
Yep.
And the patience is wearing thin.
Right.
And, they went out, but they didn't really trade for any big names or such. So I think what I like, what I hope he's going to do is change the system. I'm not sure what the system's going to be, but, last year when the coach change happened, I don't think the interim coach had a shot at changing anything. He wasn't allowed to. He didn't have the clout.
Right.
So they kept, that passive defense where they let the other team pass it around till they score. It's and then they dump the puck in, but they never get it back. And then taking penalties and
find your identity. Right. Like I hope they come out with an identity. Right.
Yeah. Nothing worked. There was no chemistry at all. And I actually saw at Adam Sandler last night. I talked to Marco, and he's excited to see who might catch fire here.
Right.
Who's going to have the chemistry,
Yep.
And he's going to move some guys around and try to find that. And with so many new names, you never know. You never know.
And there could be a gem in there that you don't realize you have.
A young guy.
That comes out of nowhere.
That's been ready to move up and take his position.
And then when the college hockey season ends, you get Hagens come in at the end. You don't know what he's going to bring to the table. I think that was a very good draft pick.
Yeah, it could be. Poitras, he looks stronger this year.
Yep.
He may be ready. He may not be. It's I really don't know. The game is so different today. I'm not sure what they look at in a player. Everybody, you got to play your position. You can't be a liability defensively, but it's kind of always been like that. It's just that the style of the game has changed.
Yeah.
You still got to put the puck in the net.
Right.
And those guys don't grow on trees.
No.
No. Well, as Derek Sanderson would say, one of his keys was always score more goals than
That's
the
right.
opponent.
I wanted to get Brock. I wanted to get Brock Bessa. He's just a natural goal scorer. Like I repped the one in North Dakota. Like that kid can put the puck in the net. Yeah. Like that kid's freaking good.
Vancouver? Is that where?
Yeah, he's in Vancouver, and I think he re-signed with them. Yeah. He was a free agent, and he re-signed with them.
Yeah, they didn't want to lose.
No,
him.
I wouldn't have lost him either.
No.
He's a hell of a player.
No, definitely. It's funny you mentioned the game being different because Ken Hodge, who was the person that brought you to Boston because he was traded to New York. He was here, and he talked about that, how different the game is, even the training and the preparation and, weight room and all that stuff. But, were you happy with that trade? Well,
nobody wants to get traded initially, but I was a young kid.
Yeah, because Ken wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Right.
He was. He was part of maybe the greatest line in the history of the league.
Yeah.
And deservedly so.
Yep.
But the times they were a changing.
Yeah.
And if Espo can get traded off that wide, anybody can.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Yeah.
And
it's true.
Me, I was a young kid. I admittedly was maybe having a little too much fun in New York. And certain things happened. The year I got traded at the end of my second year in New York, but that was the year they were getting rid of everybody. They were cleaning house that year. That was the year of the big trade when Espo went to New York with Vadnais in 75, 76. And then they traded Derek. Derek and I played together my rookie year in New York. They traded him early in 75, 76 season to St. Louis, where he had, I think statistically, the best year of his hockey career. He could still play, but they traded him. And what happened, roundabout ways, what happened was that they said they fired Emile Francis, the coach GM that drafted me, maybe because he made that trade and maybe didn't get permission. I don't know, but then they brought in Ron Stewart, and then they fired him, and John Ferguson, the tough guy from the Montreal Canadiens, came in as the third coach that year. But in the meantime, there was an article put in the paper with an interview of the owner saying that they asked him, "Why'd you trade Derek?" And he said that because he was getting two of the younger players into training problems, Rick Middleton and Ron Greshner. Actually put our name in the friggin' paper.
In the paper.
And I'm like, no, I'm 21, 22 years old. I didn't like seeing my name in the paper like that. So, but I didn't say anything right away. And Gresh never said anything. Gresh went on to be captain of the Rangers and played there 14 years.
Yeah.
They ended up trading me. But and we still keep in touch, him and I. But it was funny how life happens. So I didn't say anything. And then we played a game against the Islanders. And I got the winning goal against Billy Smith. And I'm pretty pumped up. And some reporter came in, started asking me about it again. And I didn't say anything inflammatory. It's not really my style. But the next day I walk into practice, and a teammate of mine hands me the New York Post, and I open it up into the sports section, inch-high headlines. Middleton takes shot at the boss.
No.
I still got the article. My mother saved it for me.
Holy crap.
That was February. I got traded in May.
Right.
So Fergie said, we're going to meet with the owner. We're going to straighten this all out and blah, blah, blah. Never happened. And we missed the playoffs statistically. We were out by the first week of April. And before Memorial Day, I got the phone call.
Wow.
And so when you get traded, I'm like, I was so pumped because the Rangers were an original six team. Naive visions of ticker tape parades down Fifth Avenue of winning the cup, which they had to wait until 1994 to do. But, so you don't want to get traded. But then the longer I thought about it, I was like, geez, let's see, Park and Orr on defense, on the power. That might be fun. Right?
Yeah, right.
And the
Sounds
Bruins,
all right.
and we didn't make the playoffs. The only year in my career I never made the playoffs. And they're always, perennial contenders for the cup. And so I started getting used to it, more used to it. But I was a bit of a wild guy back in those days. And so I decided we lived in Long Beach, Long Island, because you can never practice at Madison Square Gardens. They always have an alternate practice rink somewhere. Okay. In those days, it was Long Beach, which was a beautiful town in the summer. It's like where I live now, Hampton Beach. It's a summer resort town. But like I always said, in the winter, there's nothing but bookies and bartenders. What's a 22-year-old to do? So I spent the summer in Long Beach, and this is just the summer before I met Don Cherry. So you get the timeline here, And so one of the funny things that happened just before I shipped off to Boston, I was living with a buddy of mine in Long Beach, and the guys on the team wanted to throw me a going away party. It was probably just before Labor Day, because I was heading to Boston up to Fitchburg, and they're having a going away party for me. So the week before, I had gone with them to Madison Square Gardens 2 nights in a row to see Elton John, back in his heyday.
Wow.
He came out of the stage dressed as the Statue of Liberty. The lights sitting on the 5th floor in Madison Square were swinging. It's like, the place was rocking, right?
Wow.
So my buddy says to me, he said, I got a good idea. Why don't you go to your going away party dressed as Elton John? I said, what a good idea. Why not?
Right.
I'm on my way out anyway. Right. So he gets me a sequin jacket. I got the big glasses on. I got a picture of it somewhere all these years.
That's awesome.
And I walk into the restaurant where the going away party is. The first guy I see is Rod Gilbert, the great Rod Gilbert. And he looks at me and he just shakes his head. Like, now I know why we traded him. And that was the last time I seen my buddies. But I went back for the Rangers tournament. Gresh invited me last year. They honored him as 40 years with the Rangers. Right. And I went down and played in their golf tournament. It was great.
That's cool.
Even though I was only there 2 years, I still saw some of the guys that I played with back then. It's awesome.
Yeah. And it kind of leads into something I want to bring up is the Bruins Alumni Association, because you were a huge part of bringing it to where it is now.
Well, I was lucky enough to be the next president after Johnny Busick and handed it over to, I think, Terry for a short while, and then Bobby Sweeney. And then Bobby, they wanted him to move to the new Bruins Foundation.
Yep.
And they want him to wear 2 hats, and I was the vice president. So I just walked into the president's job back in about 07, 08. I was doing Nesson in between periods on Nesson for 5 years.
Yep.
And then when that ended, I just kind of slid right into the president's job. And we usually do close to 30 games a year for charity. Still do. I think they have 32 games this year.
Yeah.
Frank Simonetti is the new president. And still doing a lot of good work in the community. And I was just fortunate enough to have the guys, because that's the secret. It's, no matter what you do, you still need the guys to play the game.
Right.
And we charge a fee, but we try to keep the fee as low as possible so we can give the guys a couple bucks for gas and keep the fee so the charity can raise as much money as possible.
Right.
That's the way that it had been done right from the beginning with Johnny. And it's still that way. And they've had some big games, Warrior for Life.
Yep.
They brought in some of the NHL, some of the Stanley Cup team.
Yeah, that was a great. I
94
actually
last year,
refereed that game.
yeah.
I won't tell.
Did you know he got shot by a? Did you? I'll bring it up for him. So he got shot
He got shot by a
Ranger,
Navy SEAL.
Gino says
by
I
a Navy
tell that story too much, and I told them the last episode, and he yelled at me. So.
I didn't yell. I just called it out. I go. I think you've brought it up every episode, so might as well.
But I did. I got shot by a Navy SEAL. But that game was a lot of fun, and the game against Shoresy, the cast of Shoresy.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't in town for it. I had seen the show on TV out of Canada. A lot of people don't know really who he is or what the show's about, but it's a riot.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. It's really good.
It's hilarious.
It's a riot. Some of those Canadian shows are sleepers.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
like Trailer Park Boys, and they finally made it down, with the streamers down here on some of the channels. And
Well, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny's excellent.
well, that's where
Shoresy
Shoresy came
yeah,
out of as a character. spin-off.
And this year, the Shoresy game is at the Garden.
Yeah,
They're playing the game at the Garden.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
They'll probably, I don't know if they're going to be on a level with the Bananas, but they're going to have a lot of people there. For sure.
I mean, Agganis sold. That was the hottest ticket last year. It was Agganis Arena.
Yeah.
And they there's a reason why they moved it, because I think they're going to be able to fill the Garden.
Probably close to it.
There were people. I met people last year that flew up from like Alabama.
Really?
And like this one couple drove up from Delaware to go. Yeah, no lie. And they paid huge money for the ticket.
Maybe they should go on the road like the Bananas.
I was going to say, start the hockey version of the Bananas.
Well, they played 4 teams.
Oh,
last
they
year.
did like a
They did
Shoresy,
the
Shoresy played Detroit.
Yeah.
I think they played Toronto, Boston.
Yeah, they could probably increase their.
I think they are this year.
Go down south and play in Florida and Dallas and such. I would if I was them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They not only are they great guys, but they
Put on
they
a
can
good show.
play. They can play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's a
they
good
can
show,
play.
yeah.
That's as president of the alumni, you always, because it's not the Harlem Globetrotters. Every game is semi-real.
Yeah,
Right.
And if I knew how the team were playing, I'd try to get at least a good goalie, so give us a chance.
Right.
So we're not down 5-0 before you, and that's happened a couple times. And we take our beating, but we only lose maybe 1 game a year.
right.
Then you get Don Garcia just calling penalty shots all afternoon.
Well, that helps too.
Donnie takes care of it. I learned how to wave an offside. Trust me.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
So we want to make it so that the people on the other team, because they're friends and family in the audience,
Right.
So they can score some goals, and so we can always tell by the first 2 shifts if it's going to be a competitive game or we're going to let up a little, let that guy go around and take a shot, and try to make it look as real as possible.
Right.
A goalie lets one in by accident, goes through his legs, and keep the goal score short, close. Instead of running up 10-0,
Right, make the extra
nobody's
pass,
having
whatever,
fun.
miss the net, right?
Yeah. So
Yep. No, it's a great organization to be a part of. I'm very thankful that I got the invite and now are kind of part of
Well, it's come a long way, and the organization, the name, just people just want to see the B, and they're excited to go to the game. And the trouble is that the Bruins had an era where they didn't keep a lot of guys around, so for a lot of years. So nobody's living here anyway. We got the old guys like me that are retired, and a few guys, but maybe aren't playing that many games now. And finding guys to play that many games, weekend in, weekend out, is getting a little more difficult to do. Yeah. So hopefully, I guess Tuukka plays quite a few games.
Tuukka plays,
which is nice.
Yep.
Tuukka, Reggie Lemlin plays a lot. Right?
Oh, Reggie, yeah, he used to be my left winger. He's like, when he got faster than me, I knew it was time for me to retire.
That's a good litmus test right there, I think. For that.
I love Reggie. I'm glad I got him that one.
That's awesome.
Chara played a couple of games last year.
Nice.
He was involved. Berge played
a
couple.
They had like Bork, Chara. I don't know who the other defense were. They could have played in the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
There was 5D on there, maybe in that game. Miller.
Yeah, Miller.
Kevin Miller, a former guest and a great friend of the show. They had Boychuk there.
Boychuk was playing?
Yeah, Johnny B. They had Seidenberg.
Oh, forget.
Andrew Alberts.
Exactly.
They had quite a crew.
He can still fly.
Oh, yeah. They had, actually, the funny part was the 2011 team beat Vancouver, and Albry was on Vancouver that year.
Right. That's right.
So, but and a few of those guys, Andrew Ferentz was there too.
Wow.
Those guys look like they could jump right back in.
NHL defense, for sure.
That deco was awesome.
And they still just beat the Seals.
Well, what's funny is
right?
The Warrior for Life, they play like they're good.
Yeah,
like Aaron Bedosian, he played in the American League and. They have
They're
some
like the
good,
Russians. They stay in shape year round.
yeah. And they're SEALs, so they can kill you in 7 ways, and you wouldn't even know it.
Right.
But when Frank was joking, saying they brought in the 2011 team to make sure they were going to win, and like 30 seconds in the game.
Or be competitive anyway.
Yeah.
Let's put it that
30
way.
seconds in the game, the Bruins scored. It was kind of like, oh boy. But then it was as competitive as it could be. With that situation,
if you know how to play the game, you can play it hard without it getting cheap or hooking or a guy beats you, the guy beats you,
Yep.
But you'll skate a little harder not to let him beat you.
I found out the hard way. So like I was in college, we go up to Montreal. I was still playing college hockey, cages, the whole thing, right? And playing in the men's league tournament up there. You back check in, the guy beats you. I go to lift his stick, boom. Right, cut him. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I am so sorry, right? From that point on, men's league, I go, you beat me, take the shot, dude. Like, have at it. I was still like playing college hockey. So like, I was still like, I'm not giving up on the play, right? And the second I hit his head, I was like, oh my God, I felt awful. Then I was like, after that, I was like, oh, this is men's league. I go, just take the shot, dude. Have at it, you beat me, whatever.
Accidents happen, especially when the game gets faster.
Right.
They happen faster.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you get a shot in the ankle once in a while.
Out in Montana, I was fortunate to go out to Montana with the Warrior for Life in the NHL. I know I've told the story before, but Chris Willie was out there, the Navy SEAL that shot me, and I said, every time you get the puck, I'm fucking out of there. I'm not going anywhere near the boards. I'm going to get behind you.
I'm actually going to go up for a line change. Yeah.
I mean, he's almost as tall as me when he's kneeling down on the ice. I have a picture.
Oh, yeah.
He's almost as tall as me standing up on the ice and him kneeling down.
Is that right?
I mean, he is Josh Dolan, our producer, called him, if Kevin Miller had a cheat code, it would be Chris Willie. Because he was just a monster. But
it should be a good game this year, too.
Oh, no, I'm looking forward. Yeah. Donnie and Dougie Smith referee most of the games, but I say, there's a few I really want to do. Can I be involved in these?
Sure.
And
he asked me to do the one down the bog. It's the special needs one down there with
special hockey.
Yeah, it's really good, and but it's the same day as the Atlantic League final, so I'm hoping it's at Bentley or Holy Cross.
Oh yeah,
right.
Because I got to be there. I'm the supervisor of officials in Atlantic hockey, so yeah. So I was like, that's a tough one, but I would love to do it.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think they need three refs on the ice because Don Garcia doesn't like to come back over the red line, right?
I don't think he likes
He
to
just
move.
goes out for the picture, I thought.
Yeah. Put it this way, he could wear golf spikes
Oh,
and referee a game because he doesn't move enough.
Sorry, Don.
Sorry, Don.
Beautiful guest. We had him on.
I'll go
this
through
is a
Frank
great
to get
guy.
games.
Super
Donnie
guy.
won't give me any. But speaking of refs, and we are zebras here, what was your experience with the referees? And you played at a time.
Well, there was some
we-
characters,
We've
right,
had some
yeah.
of them on: Kerry Fraser, Don Koharski,
Stewie.
Andy Van Hellemon. Bill McCreary.
Right,
What
right.
was your
Well, I didn't have that many run-ins because I wasn't in a lot of fights.
Right.
So
Lady Bing.
Lady Bing.
Bing trophy
There you
winner,
go.
right?
But so the refs didn't have to make a lot of calls on me that way. Then when I became a captain, I had the free will to say basically what I wanted within reason.
Right.
So I hadn't been known to get a little frustrated and throw a few words their way. The funny thing was, a lot of people don't know this. At the end of my career, I had a deal with Harry because I was 12 points short of 1,000, and he bought me out of my option year. That to stay in shape, I'd go to Europe and I'd play in Europe and come back and play down the stretch because they end earlier over there.
Right.
So he said, I asked if I could skate with the team. He said, yeah. So I traveled with the team earlier that year, not getting paid as a coach or anything, of course not. But I was just skating with the team to keep my legs. And then so I remember I was lying in Buffalo on a Sunday, and phone rings. It was an agent friend of mine, Mark Perron, said, hey, I found you a job in Switzerland. He said, I got good news and bad news. I go, was that the bad news or the good news? He goes, well, it's in the B League. They're the last place team in the B League, and they want you there Thursday. And I'm lying in bed in Buffalo on a Sunday. I'm like, are you going to go? They got to know now. And I'm like, all right, I'm going. So I went. And I went for 2 months and we were the last. They averaged 7 goals against the game. It was the last place team in the B League. It was a little town north of Zurich.
Nice.
And it was horrible. The hockey was just horrible.
Atrocious.
And just speaking about referees, I never got a 10-minute misconduct in the NHL or the AHL. My whole career, I got 2 in 2 months in Switzerland because the refereeing was so bad. That I spit in one guy's face. The one I called a Russian. I didn't know he could speak English. I said, he must be a friggin' Russian. Well, and the next one, the guy speared me, and I speared him back, and he caught my spear, right? So he gives me the penalty, and I just spit it right in his face. And I was so frustrated. That was it. And my last game was in Geneva. I scored 2 goals in the third period for a 6-6 tie. It was January 5th. And we were out of the playoffs. I bought a ticket home January 6th, said goodbye to one guy, and that was it.
That was that.
Yeah, I played for the Bullock Bears.
I love it. What a
So
story.
Bullock
Mike
Bears.
Milbury calls me 2 weeks after I get home. He says, Harry wants to know if you want to go to Maine for a week, get your legs. I go, no, thanks. No more training camps. Got to move on sometime and start your life, a new phase of life. And so I never went back and finished 12 points short. But it would have been nice to get the 1,000. I mean, it meant a lot to me at that time.
Yeah.
Right.
But now that my number's retired, I really don't care.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's got to be pretty cool walking in the garden every day, seeing your name and the reps,
with
name and
the
number,
list
right?
of the players up there.
That's so awesome.
I had known their names, but I had to do a little homework, find out. And Dick Clapper was first player to play 20 years in the NHL for one team,
right.
and played defense and forward. I don't know, man, how many All-Star games. What a career back in the day. Where it was tough. Right. Those guys. Yeah. Johnny Busick told me that he went far enough back that, you'd play Saturday and Sunday, and say you'd play Saturday at home and you play Sunday, usually against the same team in their building.
Right.
And both teams would get on the same train. And there's only one bar car.
That's it.
So you got to imagine there was a few scuffles on the train,
Yeah, a little different nowadays.
Back in that era. Yeah.
Right.
And you played without a helmet.
Right,
and with a helmet.
Well, and when I came in 73, hardly anybody had helmets on. I had to wear one in junior, but I took it off for pro and got used to it. I mean, as you know, there's nothing like the wind going through your hair and you're flying down there, and you kind of got used to it. And but then the helmet rule came in 79, and by the mid 80s, half the guys in the league had them on, half didn't. And the sticks started coming up. It started to get a little scary, outside of the Teddy Green incident, you didn't see or hear about a lot of sticks. Maybe Eddie Shack and Larry Zeidel had a stick swing, but only nuts like that were doing it,
Right.
But then the sticks started coming up, and it got a little scary. And then I got a puck in the head in practice in '86. Hit me in the temple, and I heard this song 3 times in a row in the dressing room, and the trouble was the radio wasn't on. So the neurologist told me, because I went out on the ice, I got up, got an x-ray, didn't show anything. And I played the next day, and that night I got terrific headaches. And then, so I think broke some blood vessels. I ended up with a blood clot in the brain.
Oh,
and so on the outside of the brain. So they said I had a seizure. So they put me on a Dilantin, it's called, for anti-seizure medication. And so 6 weeks later, I go in, the head injury had healed, apparently, and I started working out in the dressing room, and the team's coming in off the ice. I'm in my suit walking down the hall, I start hyperventilating. I knew what it was because my mother had suffered from it. So you feel like you can't breathe, but you're actually getting too much oxygen to the brain. You got to go in and lay down with a paper bag and get carbon dioxide back in your system. So now I go to the neurologist. He goes, well, we don't know if it's a head injury or the medication, so we don't want you to get off medication. So I missed the rest of the season in '86 and the playoffs. And I remember it was May 7th. I said, I got to find out. I mean, I'm not even thinking hockey. I can't raise my heart rate. Come on. Right. And I had to know. Yeah. And I stopped it, the medication. It was a medication that was screwing me up. So I've read on the internet that the reason I retired was recurring headaches. That's bull. I don't know. Whoever read. I came back the next year. I played left wing on the line with Cam, his first full year in the league.
Right.
And we both ended up with over 30 goals. So no, awesome. I didn't retire because I had headaches. Right. I retired because Harry bought me out of my option here. That's how I retired.
That's how that went down.
I got fired. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's out there that Ken and Kenny Hodge are senior, junior, and we found out they're not. So can't always trust the internet.
No.
Yeah. So different middle names.
Ken Hodge Jr. They always write that because they didn't, want the names to get mixed up.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
Yeah, Ken isn't really a junior.
So that fascinated me. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still kind of.
Hey, if it's on the internet, it must be true. Right?
That's exactly right. The COVID can't swim. Yeah. That's why everyone went to Martha's Vineyard. The sled hockey.
Thank you. Yeah.
You going to bring up?
I was just go for it.
No, and I got fortunately I got to hang with Kip St. Germain out in Montana.
Yeah.
And then that party I did when I saw you at Encore.
Right, and they were both Joe Howard and
was
Kip
there,
were there.
And they're planning on coming on. But that, hopefully the documentary gets
I stayed up till 2:00 this morning. I went to the Adam Sandler show last night. It was great, as a matter of fact.
All right.
And I got home, and we had just been emailed a rough cut of the documentary. So I stayed up to.
Cool.
I'll just see the beginning, right?
Yeah.
It was 2 a.m. Oh man, but it's good. It's a rough cut. But they did a great job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the finished product.
Now, what was that like because you didn't know much about
I knew nothing. I didn't know what the sport was. I'll tell you how it happened. A friend of mine, by the name of Paul Edwards, who was on the U.S. Disabled Ski Team, and I didn't know he played sled hockey because I never really heard of it, called me up, it's probably January, February 2001, and said, hey, I heard that the U.S. National Sled Hockey Team was looking for a coach because they're going to be the host team in Salt Lake City in 2002 Paralympics, and their program's in shambles. The coach quit halfway through the World Championships last year, and they don't have a coach. Would you be interested? Then he goes, you do know what sled hockey is. And I panicked. I thought if I said no, he'd just say, never mind. So I go, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I heard hockey and Paralympics. I mean, I played in Canada Cups.
How different can it be?
Yeah, I mean, I could learn. So that's how it all started. And make a long story short, there was conflict. I called it the bizarro world of sled hockey because, as it turned out, half the guys, we picked the team in August of 2001 in Buffalo, and as it turned out, half the guys that we picked for the team were from a Chicago team, and that coach thought he should be king, and he tried to cause a mutiny amongst the players of his own guys to convince the other guys to get me kicked off the team as head coach. Oh yeah, it would never happen in able-bodied. I'm trying to find out like who can shut this guy up.
Yeah, right.
Like who's in charge here? You know, right. USA Hockey wasn't running it at the time. They didn't take it over till 06. So you had to find out like who is actually running this thing.
Right. Yeah.
And finally they got him to shut up for a while, and but there was a conflict between the players. So there was a rift, and you'll see it in the documentary.
There
was an actual rift between the players that I would, coming in from the outside, even though with my credentials, they didn't really like the fact that he didn't get the job. And, but the other guys did, so it was a split right down the middle.
Right, right.
And then that was August 01. We were supposed to play a tournament in Canada against Japan, Canada, and us, a round robin on September 13th, and 9/11 happened. So they shut the airspace down. They sent Japan home, and we never played another team in over 6 months going into Salt Lake City, which really turned out to be advantageous to us because not only did nobody see us, we had time to work on our own game.
Right.
But we only had 15 guys. You know, we couldn't, you know, we had to play amongst each other, 3 5-man units, playing each other and scrimmaging. And all I saw was how anemic they were in tapes from Nagano was their first Olympics, didn't win a game. World Championships, coach quit halfway through, never won a game. And now they're going in as a 6th seed out of 6 teams. Well, they were only invited because they were the host team. We were actually behind an X at one time because they had a tournament in Europe. Estonia ended up winning it, and they beat the U.S. in the World Championship, so they went number 5, and we stayed number 6.
Wow.
So there was no visions of gold medals dancing in our heads, you know.
Right.
And I looking at the tapes, and my assistant coach, Tom Moulton, good friend of mine from Hampton, big hockey guy.
Whose birthday party I
you
performed
were
at,
just had his 70th birthday party.
Tommy's birthday party.
Tommy, a great hockey, has a skate sharpener in his house, you know, sponsors teams, played for years, and has this booming voice. And I knew we'd need that somewhere because I don't. And but I decided that what the teams needed by looking at the films is they gave up. First of all, they never got the puck. And all they did was chase the other team around the ice because they had the puck. So first of all, you got to have the puck to score goals. So we got to get it somehow. And secondly, the defense stayed in way too long. They were too slow. And the other teams were throwing it off the boards, getting breakaway after breakaway. Come on, we put this guy, Sylvester Fliss, nickname is Sly, on defense because we recognized he was the best player out there. He was from Chicago.
Really?
He was very allegiant to the coach there. But I got to say, with these guys, once they got on the ice, it was all business. It was all hockey. It was for the team. And we put him on defense, war number 4, ironically. And as it turned out, he scored 11 goals in 5 games with 3 hat tricks. One against the number 1 seed, Canada, in our second game. So it was just out of nowhere. He never really played in international hockey before. Just got his American citizenship just not a couple months before going. And so nobody had really seen him. But we recognized how good he was on the ice. But didn't know in game situation
how good
it would
Yeah.
play out.
Yeah.
So we did 1 camp a month in the cities we lived in, Boston, Chicago, Minnesota, 2 in Dallas. We had 3 guys from Dallas, Southern boys. They were awesome. And the sled hockey in those days, the guys paid their own way everywhere.
Right.
There was no funding. The sport didn't start till the early 90s. You know how sled hockey started in the United States?
No.
Canada. All the teams were in Europe. Canada had no one to play. So some guys around the Minnesota area, Canada sent some sleds down, some sticks, and they started the very first team. It was the Minnesota North Stars on their jerseys. And 3 of the guys on our team were the grandfathers of sled hockey, Dave Conklin, Manny Guerra, and Dan Henderson. And they were on our team. They had been playing for 10 years. They were the grandfathers. And,
Wow.
No, it's a great history. Our average age was 34. We had a 17-year-old and we had a 40-something-year-old, Dave Conklin, the grandfather of sled hockey.
Wow.
He was almost as old as me, and I was the coach. I didn't realize it at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that game, obviously it's hockey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Same rules.
It's different in the sense of kind of, I'm sure, strategy and.
Well, in those
or
days,
is
as I said, we picked 15 players, but you can only dress 12. So you're going to have 2 lines, 4 defense, and 2 goalies on the bench. So you get hurt, there isn't a replacement.
Right,
He's sitting
right.
in the stands.
Right.
You know, so you can't. Today, I think you can dress the extra guys.
Yeah.
But so, you know, teams like Norway, who we played in the gold medal game, they were in such great shape, and they've been there playing for so many years. They'd go down to 7 guys and play the whole game. I mean, they're in unbelievable shape. Oh,
Incredible athletes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So we never played anybody, and we were sick and tired of playing against ourselves. But what these guys, and we recognized, had never got was a system. Not only were they coming from different teams, they had never learned a system.
Right.
You know, so we had to teach them every zone: offensive zone, neutral zone, defensive zone. If you win the face-off, this is where you go. If you lose the face-off, this is where you go. So it took our whole 6
options, right?
months.
yeah.
And then we only had like Sylvester and Joe Howard, and Kip was on defense too. But Joe and Sylvester were the only 2 guys who could really carry the puck the length of the ice and go around people. The other guys could skate, but they couldn't handle the puck. They weren't that adept at it, as a lot of the sled players on all the teams were those days. So I developed the Don Cherry dump and run, because I figured we got to get the puck down low. If you don't get the puck down there, you're not going to go around guys and look fancy. Only these 2 guys could do that, right? So if you're the right winger, you get over the red line, you throw in the left corner. That way the left winger doesn't have to slow down. Just keep going. Just don't go offside and go in and bang that defenseman. And if you don't, and you chase him around the net, the right winger cuts him off at the post, forcing the pass around the boards. The defenseman pinches in, center covers, and that's the old
the
Don
system.
Cherry system.
Yeah.
Seemed to work. And it was simple enough that the guys, some guys never grew up playing hockey. There was only a couple of guys that ever grew up playing hockey, so they didn't have a hockey mind.
Right.
So they didn't react automatically. They had to think.
Yeah,
And when you think you're
puck stumped in over there, but it's going to end up there pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to wait and see. You
you're
gotta,
not going that way, you're
know
going that way.
this. And these guys didn't know it. They had to react after something happened
Right.
instead of before. The anticipation wasn't there. So I had to
Interesting.
develop a system that was simple enough that they could use in a game, and we never knew if it was going to work because we didn't till our very first game against Japan in Salt Lake City for the marbles.
Right. It's amazing you didn't play anyone until the Olympics.
No,
Like that.
But nobody saw us.
is-
But we had no clue how good we could be either.
Right.
And the first game against Japan, as you know, in the Olympics and Paralympics, it was at 9 in the morning. It was friends and family in the ring.
Right.
You could hear the echoes of the puck going off the boards, right? And we're playing Japan at 9 in the morning, and it's 0-0 after the second period. Like they had never beat Japan.
Right.
They had never beat Estonia. I was just hoping, got to beat Japan or Estonia and maybe Sweden to get into the bronze medal game. I'm not even thinking number 1 Canada,
yeah.
number 2 Norway.
Right.
Right, and so we got Japan first game. I'm like 0-0. I turned to Tommy, my assistant, and I said, "Hey, we don't beat them. We might as well just go home." And we ended up winning 3-0. We scored 3 in the third period. We won 3-0. And the next game was the next night, Saturday night. They'd already sold 6,000 tickets at the East Center.
Oh, wow.
Salt Lake City, the people really gravitated to the Paralympics. I mean, the tickets were a lot cheaper, but they bought into us. All of a sudden, we started winning. People were coming, asking for autographs for the guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
It
cool.
was in the newspaper. You open it up, we're on the front cover. Oh, yeah, Salt Lake City did a great job at promoting it. And we were, the kids that kind of weren't expected to do anything. And the men's and women's team both lost to Canada in the Olympics that year. They only won silver. So we had to win the gold. And we thought we were going to end up playing Canada, but in the second game, we beat them. We spanked them 5-1, and it was kind of the Sylvester Fliss coming out party. He got a hat trick against Canada. Canada never won another game. Shocked them so bad. Never won another
Deflated
game.
them.
Never won a medal. They lost the bronze medal game to Sweden. They sent CBC, as they sent a film crew down from CBC to film it because they thought they were number 1 seed.
Right.
They're going to win a medal. CBC filmed our gold medal game because there was no U.S. networks there in 2002.
Wow.
Believe that? A&E Network did a 1-hour tape delay show with Harry Smith and Joan London. And Joan covered the skiing and Harry covered the sled hockey. And Harry's in the documentary. I saw it last night.
Wow. Cool.
He came down and interviewed the guys in the dressing room. Yeah.
What was cool out in Montana is they did a sled hockey demonstration.
Exhibition, yeah.
Where they let guys, able-bodied guys, play.
Anybody
in
can get in the sled and have fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't because of my
I've
back.
never done it, but
I was
yeah.
afraid
I
it
see
would
it's tough.
wreck my back, and I was already skating
It's
4 games
not
that day.
easy.
Right.
But even guys like some of the SEALs.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are SEALs.
Yeah.
And they come off the ice going, man, that and the sled hockey players that were there, Kip being one of them,
Yeah.
You could see them. They were flying. It was just
It's the
it was
edges.
a really
it's like
cool
skiing because they got the blades running into their butt.
Yeah.
And guys like me would have the blades the blades far apart, so you're not falling over.
Right.
Those guys, they got an inch and a quarter apart. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like one blade, and they go, wheeling down there with the balance.
Yeah.
And then it's full check on top of it.
Yeah, that's
So when you hit the boards,
You're getting hit.
the boards are designed to give where the glass is.
not
The
where-
stanchions are down there.
Yeah, they don't
Where
move.
they hit, they're not moving.
Yeah.
No, so you don't think about that a lot. And they had 2 penalties. One was T-boning. You're not allowed to
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
to hit the end
I
of
know
your
that one.
sled into a guy.
Right.
But what they would do is kick up the end at the last minute, trying to knock the wind out or hit you in the kidneys. Yeah.
That was illegal.
At the club level, not at the
yeah.
club level, at the Olympic level, Paralympic
Wow.
level. And the other one was you're not allowed to stab somebody because you have these picks on the end that I touch them and it cuts you.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
they're
those
like
picks. Oh, I didn't
they're
realize
like
get
razor
going.
blades.
Yeah.
But they come
Oh,
out
that's-
bleeding all the time. They jab each other. Oh yeah. So it's a serious sport.
Yeah, it is.
And you should see them. We went down to the World Championships, Tommy and I, and a bunch of the guys from the 02 team went to Buffalo for the World Championships this year. And Canada, US beat Canada 6-1.
Oh, wow.
They've won, since we won it in 02, they won a bronze in 06, and they won 4 golds in a row. And they're going for their 5th in Italy next year.
Holy smokes.
The winningest team in the world, nobody can touch
go.
them. The best player in the world's name is Declan Farmer. So remember that name, Farmer.
Farmer.
He is-
Declan Farmer. Where's he
He's
from?
like McDavid out there. You should
Really?
see it. It's so much faster today. They can skate so much better, and they can shoot with both hands,
Wow.
and they can pass the puck under the sled from one hand to the other.
Right.
No, it's unbelievable. That'll be on TV now because it's Olympics and Paralympics.
Right.
Where before you
just separate,
wouldn't
right?
be able
Yeah.
to find it. Yeah.
So when you do the USA Hockey refereeing thing, one of the modules was always on sled
Sled
hockey.
hockey, right.
And it was kind of like, they have refs. I've never refed one. So it was kind of like, why are they making us go through this? But then you watch it and you're like, holy shit, this is
Well, you
impressive.
gotta watch your back. That's
Yeah.
what you got to watch. The funny thing in 02, there weren't a lot of referees that had ever reffed sled hockey, especially in the United States.
I know some people that went down and did it.
Yeah. And so you got to know the rules. But so we didn't know this. So after the game, after we won the gold, we're walking down the dressing room, walk by the referee's room, and the ref that did the game was in there, and they're drinking a beer. And everything. Come on in. So we had a beer with them, and we walk in, and there's about, I don't know, 15 cases of beer in there. The Paralympics is over. And they still got I said, what do you guys got, a drinking problem or what? Right? He goes, oh, no. We had a bet at the beginning before this started last week. Said that every time somebody got wiped out by a sled, they had to buy a case of beer. And there was like 15 cases of beer in there.
If you go down, you all around. That's
Yeah. So they had a bet like that.
You would never think of that.
No.
But they're down low and take you right out.
Yeah.
I brought a 30 pack into the garden one time after the Hockey East final. We were in there drinking. We ran out of beer. I was like, well, I got 15. I bought a 30 pack, so I threw 15 in my bag, wheeled it in, threw it in the fridge, and then we ran down. I grabbed the security guard. I go, do you care if I run down and grab more beer out of my car? I wish I filmed myself carrying a 30 pack into the garden.
It was a lot looser in those days.
Yeah.
This was a couple of years ago.
Oh, is that all?
And that story is your Chris Willie story.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that one.
Yes.
I'm just busting your balls.
Oh, that's funny. Sensitive over here.
Yeah.
No, I'm
No,
just,
it's
I'm
all
just
good.
kidding.
So winning the gold medal was, and the way it happened, the reason it's going to make a good documentary is, the conflict. You got to have conflict in any story.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we didn't make it up. It was there. And the 9/11, it was 6 months after 9/11. I mean, a lot of nationalism.
Right.
And the fans, especially for the gold medal game, 8,317 people at the East Center. Still, I think the largest crowd, because they play in smaller venues now. Maybe the largest crowd to ever see a sled hockey
Electric,
game.
yeah.
And the flags, the USA flags, and the chanting and everything. They were really behind us to win. And it went down to a shootout. And it went to the last shooter. I'm dying.
No kidding.
I was dying. I didn't have a lot of coaching history.
Right.
So I was fine until, it really got to the gold medal game. Then I started thinking, I don't want to screw up. What if I screw something up? Well, too many men on the ice.
Yeah, right.
And lose the gold medal because of me.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the headline for wrong reason. You want to be in for the right reasons.
And
Yeah.
as far as coaching wise, you didn't really coach a lot.
No, I developed a system for them to play, and it's kind of like, I'm sure like whoever coached Bobby back in the day was like, get Bobby on the ice, so get Sly on the ice.
But you hadn't
Get out of the way. Yeah.
You hadn't really coached any teams or anything.
No,
prior to this.
my kids and stuff like that.
Right.
But no, not at any meaningful level where you could blow it if you did the wrong. But I didn't have to worry about it because we outscored the opposition 22-3.
Firepower.
So what happened? We beat Canada 5-1, and now just the way the schedule lined up, our next game was the number 2 seed, Norway, and we're thinking we got 2 wins now. We beat Norway. We're in the gold medal game. Never dreamed that we'd be in the gold medal game, especially halfway through. If we beat Norway, we're in, and we beat them 2-1. It was the hardest game of the series so far.
Wow.
And then we're playing Sweden and Estonia after that. We beat Sweden 6-0. Sly got his second hat trick. And we beat Estonia 6-1, and he got his third hat trick. So we outscored the opposition 22-3. And we rolled. I mean, it sounded easy, but the last two games, maybe.
Who did you play in the gold medal game?
Norway, because Canada never
that's
won
right.
another game. They were so shocked that it ruined their whole psyche for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And Norway, who they had beat in the first game, 1-0, won all the rest of their game. They had 2 losses, and they still got in the gold medal game.
Wow.
And they had won the gold in Nagano, and they lost to Canada in the World. So they'd been there before.
Yeah.
And we hadn't. And the gold medal game, the only time we were down, they scored the first goal early in the first period. But lots of time left. My captain, Joe Howard, got 2 late in the first to go up 2-1. We scored on the power play first shift to the second period. We were up 3-1. We outshot them 12-1 in the first period. We're up 3-1. We're rolling. And then the guys got tired. They blew it out so hard early in the game that, they're in good condition, but for that sort of a game.
Yeah, that's
and
high
Norway'd
intensity.
been there before, and
The adrenaline
made
wears off a little bit too, right?
Yeah, the adrenaline wears off, and you make the wrong pass at the wrong time, and they made it 3-2, and then they made it 3-3 in the third period, and if it wasn't for our goalie, we would have lost. We would have got the silver medal anyways, but it would have felt like losing.
Right.
Silver medal
At that
is
point,
not-
you go for it.
You don't want to
It would
win
have saved the
silver.
program, because we heard afterwards that if we didn't medal, that they probably cut the funding and the program would have been gone away.
Oh, wow.
We heard that luckily afterwards, not before.
But at that time, you had said USA Hockey wasn't involved yet,
No,
right?
no.
there was no real governing body?
Disabled sport. It was wheelchair sports. And
Right.
They started the U.S. Paralympics more as a fundraising arm. And so nobody really wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I don't know if it was before Torino in 06 or after the Paralympics. But that's when because they're the national governing body of all hockey in the United States. So, and since then, they've taken pretty much all hockey, special hockey and all the different types of hockey, and put them under their umbrella. But they hadn't done it yet. And so all we got was some funding from them. And
We had Ray LeBlanc on it, who's the head of mass adaptive hockey.
Right.
And sled being one of the disciplines. I was fascinated by blind hockey.
The blind one was interesting.
We had one of the players on, and she was amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
I played with prosthetics, the hockey with guys with prosthetics.
Yep.
And you can't tell the difference. I couldn't tell which leg they had the prosthetic on and which leg they didn't.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's pretty amazing.
And they can, they can play like the runners and stuff. They all can do exactly what,
I saw an ad.
can.
It was a runner, and he was a half a second off the able-bodied 100-yard dash, or whatever they call it now.
Wow.
Half a second off the record.
Wow.
And he said, the line was, "I'm coming after you." And he had one of those metal feet.
Oh, the curved ones.
Yeah, he's like half a second off on the able-bodied time.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And so, I advise, check out the Paralympics this coming next March, and watch. Hopefully, the U.S. team get their 5th gold medal in a row, and 6 total.
That'd be
But we
awesome.
were, as my assistant said, we were the spark that lit the fire, and that's what we're proud of. And back in 22, we got inducted into the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame in Colorado Springs.
Yep.
A great honor, and then followed up last year by the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And so that was just so unexpected. All these years later, to get the notoriety and the it was just incredible.
Yeah, it is interesting that it took that long. I mean, too long if you really want to be honest, I would think.
I think part of it maybe is where the program's gone. I mean, we didn't know what would happen. I mean, there's so many youth hockey, sled hockey around the country now.
Right.
And kids coming up. There's a story I didn't even know until I watched it last night. We had a young 17-year-old, Josh Ward, on the team. And he didn't play a lot. He was one of the extra guys. But he was so proud to be, a gold medal winner that when he went back, he was from Pittsburgh, and he got into the local youth hockey. There was a young kid, I can't remember his name, but he was younger. He was like 5 years old at the time. I mean, long story short, he met Josh, turned into a sled hockey player, made the U.S. team, and won a gold in Sochi.
Oh,
in
wow.
14.
That's so cool.
And Josh got him, was responsible for bringing him along.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and he won. So and then unfortunately the wars happened. Guys went into these rehabs and came out and got introduced to sled hockey from the rehab.
Right.
The famous one, the guy's name was Rico Roman, Mexican-American, that apparently, the story I heard, hated hockey, and they kept pushing it from the I don't want to play. Long story short, he tried it, loved it, and ended up winning 2 or 3 gold medals.
Oh,
and
wow.
he's retired now.
Giddy up.
Yeah. So there's so many great stories that really have never been told, and ours was really the first.
Well, I'm glad the documentary. I know.
I think
that's
it'll
been in
open
the
up
works
a lot
for
of
while.
eyes. A lot of
Yeah.
eyes. We're hoping to have it ready in time, obviously, for the Paralympics.
Right.
We're told that NBC and Peacock are interested.
That's awesome.
And hopefully have it ready in time to go to the Sundance Film Festival at the end of January.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see what happens.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
We're
I'm
pulling
very
for you.
excited now. Over 10, we were trying to do a movie for 10 years.
Okay.
We spent a lot of money going nowhere. And then we got introduced to Bungalow Entertainment, a company out of New York. They did the Little Richard documentary that's out. I
Okay.
don't know if you've seen it, but it's awesome.
I haven't seen it, but
it's it's very good. It's very good.
He had an
They won an
interesting
Emmy
life.
for that, for
Yeah.
the production.
Oh, all right.
And so they're doing ours now, and they're very excited about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Can't wait to watch it.
I know.
I can't wait for the finished product. Yeah.
So I brought up the name. You actually mentioned him earlier, Alan Eagleson. Not a fan, I'm taking it. Not a lot of people aren't fans.
No.
You know,
No.
he was involved with, the Orr thing and a few things.
Well, Alan was my agent my first 8 years.
Oh, was he?
I went after him because he was the head of the union,
Right.
the NHL union, starting around 67, 68. And I believe Bobby was his first client.
Right.
He had 150 at one time. He had about a third of the league.
Wow.
And, just over so many years, there was a lot of rumors that were going around about him. And I ended up ending our relationship in the early 80s. And but he wasn't ousted until the early 90s. He had another 10 years. But a guy by the name of Russ Conway, who worked at the Lawrence Eagle Tribune, it took a little newspaper's sports guy. Russ was a beat reporter for the Lawrence Eagle Tribune. He was always in the dressing room and covered hockey, and very smart, very smart. Knew a lot of people, was well respected in the business. Decided that he was going to investigate it, and he uncovered so much that the U.S. Justice Department filed 32 counts of racketeering conspiracy against Eagleson.
Wow.
And they never got him down here. Canada wouldn't extradite him. In 4 years, he was so well tied in politically up there that they never extradited him. I don't know the exact reasons, but never got him down here. He finally pled out on 3 counts of wire fraud. That was it. And he came down to a Boston courthouse in shackles, and Bobby was there that day. I was there. Johnny Busick, Gordie Howe, pled out on 3 counts. Went to Canada, pled out on another 8 counts in Toronto the next day, and went to jail. I believe for 6 months. Paid $1 million Canadian fine and got out.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the story of Alan Eagleson. There's a lot of things that have been said. I don't know what's rumor and what's true about the stories. The one good thing he ever done for me was he got me pretty good contracts.
He's a good agent.
But on the other hand, I was paying him a percentage so that he would handle my money and investments, and just never did anything for me. So, but as far as I was asked to be a plaintiff in a lawsuit, a class action RICO lawsuit that was being done by some lawyers out of Chicago, and they wanted to have 5 different names of guys on the cover instead of just one. On a class action, you need to have at least one name. So they had 4 guys on there, and Brad Park being one of them.
Yep.
And Brad came to me and asked me if I would be on there, and it was a class action RICO lawsuit against Alan Eagleson, all the owners, the NHL, just to, prove once and for all that they were in cahoots together. And I decided that I would, knowing that I would not endear myself to the owners, put my name on the lawsuit because I would be representing the rest of the players in the league at that time. And I just wanted the truth to come out. That's all. You know, what penalties come from that, who knows? But at least You get to court, and in those days we filed in Philadelphia federal court because the RICO statute claimed that if you could go back as far as you could show a pattern of crime.
Oh, wow.
And the story that I had heard from a very reliable source is that, and I'm not sure who filed the bill, but a bill was filed, ironically, right in the middle of our lawsuit, to make all the RICO statutes the same in all the federal courts in the United States. And they went 5 years, and that was it. So it cut the legs out from under us.
Wow.
And it got thrown out all the way to the Supreme Court.
Wow.
So the thing that I hated the most was most of the guys we did this on their benefit never even heard about it, didn't even know it happened.
Yeah.
Because it only made it to court, I think, once they went into a courtroom, an actual courtroom, before the law, the statute was changed. That pulled the legs right out from under the lawsuit. So, yeah, so nothing ever happened. And nobody really knows about it.
No, it's something that
Except the owners, they remember.
and
And
they don't want to bring it up.
I'm sure Al does too.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we actually Cedric Maxwell asked us this. As far as a Mount Rushmore of, and I'd say the Bruins, but we kind of already touched on that.
Yeah.
Hockey, kind of touched on that. All the sports, who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
All Boston sports?
Well, we can do Boston. We did Boston, and then
We did all sports.
It's a
but
fun.
yeah.
It's always a fun one to bring up because, hockey's kind of.
All
we touched
sports,
on
a
some of
pretty
the,
wide array.
yeah,
Right, with
but
like
in Boston,
tennis
you
players,
know,
there was golfers,
who would-
there was, yeah.
But who would be
Yeah.
in your Boston Mount Rushmore?
Oh, well, obviously Bobby. Ted Williams. It still amazes me, and I like baseball, but I'm a horrible baseball player, and I don't know all the rules. I mean,
Yep.
there's so much going on in the sport you don't even see.
Right.
That's the shame of it.
Yep.
But for him to be the only player to ever hit over 400, with as good as the athletes are in every sport, the athlete gets better and runs faster. But the beauty of the game is they've never changed it.
Right.
Still 90 feet to the bases. The field, the walls are still pretty much the same distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
All they changed was the mound a little bit, and it works.
Yeah.
It still works, and nobody's been able
Tough to
to
argue
hit
that.
over 400.
Yeah.
And he played in the last game. He could have not played that last game. He could have gone below 400.
Oh,
That's right. That's
and
right.
he dressed.
And they
he
actually
went like 2 for 4 or something.
yeah, because they asked him if he didn't want to play,
Yeah.
and he was like, "No, I'm playing.
I'm playing."
not."
Right.
So he could have, not played and got over
you're right.
400.
Yeah.
But he said, "No, I'm playing." So Ted Williams. I mean,
Yeah.
just to do that, and plus, the person, his war record.
Yeah, he went to
is
war for 4
bigger
years.
than life.
Right.
Bigger than life. Are we doing the 4 different sports?
Yeah, because
Yeah, you could
you
just do
played
athletes, yeah.
your heyday was in the same kind of time frame as Larry Bird.
Well, Gretzky's got to be up there. I mean, Bird. You mean for Boston?
For Boston,
yeah,
yeah.
Bird for sure. Bird for sure. I was never a huge. I grew up in Canada. I was never a huge basketball fan, and I couldn't dribble. I played in some charity games on the parquet. The rule was you couldn't have 2 Canadian hockey players on the court at one time. The only guy worse than me was Brad Park, believe it or not. But I got a chance to play on the parquet. But I saw the documentary on the '86 team. Celtic City.
Yes.
You see
Oh
that?
yeah,
And I didn't realize a lot. I didn't realize his personality. I never met him until after my career because
really?
they're always home when we're on the road.
I was going to say, did you ever have any interaction
we
with them?
never,
Yeah,
we never
crossovers?
walked by
Yeah.
each other.
well,
never
yeah,
really.
because they played
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
building.
obviously
That
different
would make
practice,
sense.
different
Never
places,
went to the
right?
same bars after the games, and I got friendly after my career with Kevin McHale. He ran a golf tournament, charity tournament, and a great guy out of Minnesota. Played hockey growing up, but never really got to know Larry. So when I saw that Celtic City, I didn't realize what a competitor he really was,
right.
and backed it up.
Oh,
Right.
and backed it up. So, and I think Cedric had some funny stories about
great.
Larry, about this little white guy.
He was great.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he's like, that white boy can
I've
play.
heard some of those stories, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
That didn't realize he was Larry. He thought Larry Bird was black. Didn't he?
Well, he couldn't believe he was white when they talked about this Larry Bird.
Some great stories. So it's the guys that back it up and do it for a long time.
Yeah.
And at such a high level.
Yeah.
And you're right, Larry. It's what sport are we missing? Football. Obviously Brady.
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
You can't. The GOAT. I mean, what he achieved, and I don't. Again, it's a sport. I played in high school, and I understand the basic rules of it, but what it takes, especially in that position. And okay, maybe they changed the rules since the '60s to protect the quarterback, but still, you got these big men coming down on you, and if it wasn't for Walker coming across the middle, that saved them a lot. That 10-yard pass was his bread and butter.
One of the best slot receivers.
And
Walker and
Edelman.
Yeah, Edelman took
across
over.
the middle
Unreal.
in that sport is a death sentence.
And for the guys, like the size of those two going through the middle with how high they hit. Like,
But that was his out.
Yep.
That saved, that saved them because they couldn't hit him if he got rid of it that quick.
Right.
And so I don't know why they don't do it more today. Maybe they don't have the receivers like they did. But
I think you got to start seeing it now because you got the same kind of formula. You got a quarterback in there that's smart. He's getting rid of the ball quick. He's pretty accurate. I think.
I didn't see the last game, but I saw the score.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were.
I mean, that they did also play the bottom of the barrel, but still, I mean,
But they won like they should have.
Yeah, the execution and all of it was just.
They won like they should have.
It wasn't just like they. Picked up fumbles and ran it in and stuff. They were making plays and throwing. They look good.
Yeah, and at the time of this taping, there are only 2 losses by 6 points and 7 points. So at least the future looks bright.
Oh yeah.
In Boston, the Red Sox. We don't know when this drops. We don't know where they're at, but right now they look good.
Yep.
Against the Yankees. So
I think the last guy on my list would be Bill Lee. I love Bill.
He's awesome.
No, I mean Bill Russell.
Bill Russell. Little different. Yeah.
Bill. I ran a golf tournament in the '90s for 20 years, and up in Concord, New Hampshire. And Bill showed up every year.
Oh, that's cool.
Every year.
Yeah.
Him and Diana, his wife, and I call him up. He goes, "Give me a hotel room. I'll be there." And he showed up 1 minute before tee up, but
He's there.
he was there, and he's the most unbelievable person.
Yeah.
And I love it. He must have been so much fun to play with.
Oh,
There's a guy, a dressing room guy, that'll keep you loose.
100%.
Yeah. So, and Bill Russell just, I again didn't look at all the championships. They made the Celtics the name they are.
Yep.
Right.
Today,
11
and for Bird to follow up on.
Yep.
And never got his dues, and I'm glad to see that he finally is.
Yeah. Did you play? Greatest. You mentioned football. Did you play any other sports as a kid?
I grew up in Canada.
Right.
But
hockey and street hockey.
Canada's 3 downs. We call the run, pass, and kick. But I was a fullback. I was a 150-pound fullback. Oh yeah. So I learned how to take the hits from the linebacker.
Yeah.
But I was pretty quick, and I played rugby too. In those days, they were introducing, which is really stupid because growing up in Toronto in those days I had a life outside of school. High school hockey here is big.
Right.
In Canada, it's really the lowest form of hockey because most guys play outside in leagues and organizations, and so that's where the best hockey, the most competitive, is. And you play for fun for your high school, but it's not as competitive. So I'm not. Nobody was telling me, oh, you could get injured. You know, I'm playing rugby and football, and my hockey team didn't know I was doing that.
Right.
No, and my high school had no idea what I was doing over here, playing, you know, pretty high caliber hockey in Toronto at the time.
Yeah.
You know, as I was in high school at 14, 15, 16 years old. I got drafted by the Oshawa Generals at 16. I could have blown a knee out, and nobody really was worried about it. So in those days, they were introducing what they call rugger, and it was 7-man. They call it sevens today. It's 7-man rugby. Yeah, and so if you were fast, you didn't get hit that much. So I wasn't in the scrum. Let's put it that way. I was a fly half, and we won at least 1 or 2 Ontario championships. You know, like states, you know, provinces, because it was just being introduced, and we had some really good athletes. One of the kids went on to play for the Ottawa Rough Riders in football, and
wow.
yeah, so we had a good school, a good neighborhood. It was a lot of fun. I did some track, you know, and played just different stuff in high school. But my main thing, obviously, was hockey. And I was lucky enough I switched organization. I only played for 2 coaches really growing up. One from the beginning to minor bantam, and then we switched. I got a postcard in the mail with a picture of the Canadian national team on it for the Toronto Young Nationals, very first year of their existence. And of course, you know everything at 13 years old. So this is hokey. I'm not going to go, right? And I tried out for the Toronto Marlboros because they had the maple leaf and all that. And they were always the big name in Toronto.
Yeah.
And they cut me after 2 practices. So my buddy who got invited for tryouts too caught me into going, and he changed my life because I got a coach by the name of Frank Miller, who is 90 years old. He's about the same age as Don now. Wow. And still alive in Toronto. And he changed my skating around in 3 years. He made me such a better skater that from 13 to 16, I got 6 full scholarship offers. One of them was the BU. Wow. I never took it. Yeah, in 1969-70, they won a national championship, I think.
Yeah.
Funny how I ended up back in Boston.
Yeah, right.
A guy by the name of Bob Crocker, whose son ended up as a trainer with the Bruins junior at one time. But he recruited me, and I never went. Oshawa Generals drafted me, and Oshawa is only half an hour from my home in Toronto. So a guy by the name of Bobby Orr played junior there, so I thought maybe that would be nice to play there. And later on, it was Wayne Cashman came out of Oshawa, and Terry O'Reilly's from Oshawa. Yeah. Who we just ended up, he got his number retired this weekend. We were up there. So, no, it was all good, but I wasn't very big, as I said, and when I got drafted, I decided I'm not ready for prime time yet because the Toronto Marlboros, the Hamilton Red Wings, are playing on TV. Junior A hockey up there is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. And I played a year of B in Toronto. The first year the Toronto Young Nationals had a B team. I had a good year and won, first All-Star team and Rookie of the Year and stuff. So it got me ready for Junior A.
Did all those crazy parents just hear that out there? You played on a B team, all right?
It was junior B. It wasn't Junior A. Yeah. When I could have tried out for A, I may not have made it, but I could have.
But you went through that.
Yeah, you went through the process, and you learn, you grow, and you gave yourself the confidence to play at that level. Right?
It always seemed to happen to me. I played 1 year, kind of like a prep year before going up, and it was another rung in the ladder.
Right.
And it happened when I got drafted in the first round by the Rangers. My last year at junior, I scored the most goals in the league. I mean, if you're going to have a good year, that's the year to do it.
Yeah, right.
And I won the MVP award, so my stock went way up, and that's why the Rangers took me in the first round. So, but they had lost in 72 the cup to the Bruins in 6. Right. And this is 73. And they sent me to their farm team, and I didn't take it as a demotion. I didn't have an ego like that yet.
Right.
That I thought I should be on this team because I'm a first round pick. Right. Yep. So I went down to Providence, and they never called me up one game. And I played the whole year in Providence. Went to the Calder Cup finals and lost to Hershey in 5. Won the first All-Star team. So again, it was a stepping stone to the NHL. And it served me well that 1 year just getting ready for it.
I tell guys that all the time. I'm like, it's it's so much. It's all about development, right? Like you just gotta don't rush it because you don't want to make your mistakes up here too early. Because once you do, you're not gonna get that back, right?
And it's a rite of passage. I mean, it was my first time away from home because I lived at home. Most guys move out by the time they're 15, 16 to play junior. I was living at home. The first time away from home was 19. I'm driving my new car I bought with my signing bonus. Where the hell is Providence, Rhode Island? No GPS.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, get the map out.
Yeah, the lovely Holiday Inn at Atwell's Ave.
Let's go south.
You didn't go up the street in those days.
No, you didn't.
Federal Hill was blocked off.
Yeah, keep the windows and doors locked.
Yeah.
But it was the first year of the Duncan Center. It was a lot of fun. First year.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah. It was state of the art. It had the restaurant behind the glass down the end, and for a 10,000 seat stadium for an American League team, it was awesome. Yeah, and but I was only there the 1 year and got up with the Rangers the next year, which was a dream come true. Playing, I still get butterflies going to Madison Square Gardens. It's quite the place.
It really is.
It's quite the place. Yeah. And they were my first team. Obviously, I'm Bruins through and through.
Right.
But you always remember your first, and I have some fond memories of those 2 years in New York. For sure.
Yeah, I mean,
all crazy memories, but fond memories.
No.
Ronnie Greshner and I still talk about it because Gresh is a year younger than me, but so he got drafted the next year when I went up. He went to Providence, but he only played there till November, and then they brought him up. And he needed a place to stay, so me and this other guy, Bert Wilson, had an extra room in the back. So we told him, yeah, you can bunk there, right? It was like the size of a closet. And he lived there the whole year. I don't think he unpacked. He opened his trunk and lived out of his trunk for a year. And you think, it's so glamorous being in the NHL.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's changed quite a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's even
like
college hockey now.
They want to
These guys-
make sure you're okay. How's your mental health, your physical health?
Yeah.
Is your wife happy?
Right.
In the old days, the joke was if they tell you to buy a house, you're being traded. Oh yeah.
Wow.
We'll buy a house.
That's crazy.
Just rent.
I have to ask you this because I heard, and I couldn't verify this story, but I heard you had a bird named Larry Bird.
Yeah. Trying to remember where I got it. I gave it to my dentist.
That's what I
He's
was
gone now.
And it was in the dentist's office.
Yeah, Howard Hill in Georgetown,
Yep.
Mass. Yeah. Howard.
So it is true.
Howard's been fixing these since 1980.
Okay.
I said my mouth is worth more than my car now.
Yeah, it can be.
But
pricey.
so every time I went to the dentist, which was pretty often, Larry would be in there. He never talked, but he sang opera, I think. And he never liked me very much.
Well, I know this because a friend of mine, Melissa, who worked for my brother, who was the Bruins dentist for about 30 years.
Okay.
She worked for my brother, but then she went and worked for that dentist.
Oh, okay.
And that's how she knew about the
She
bird.
knew about Larry.
And I just happened to see her. My brother got married this past Sunday, and I saw her, and I had met. She asked how the podcast was going, and I said, "Oh, we have Rick Middleton coming on." And she was like, "Oh, ask him about his bird, Larry Bird." And then I'm like, I try to verify this, and there's no mention of any Larry Bird.
You know how many green birds in Boston are named Larry Bird?
Wow, yeah, right. There's a lot of dogs named Brady, too.
Yes, there is. Yep. But I was told
that's true
to
story.
ask you about
True story.
Larry Bird.
Yeah. He's gone now, but
The fact that you gave him to your dentist is hilarious.
I'm not sure why I gave it to Howard, but I think he just wanted it to break up the boredom in the, doing the same thing over and over. Larry would be in the kitchen singing an aria or something. I don't know. I don't know what he was singing. But
That's so awesome. And you named him Larry Bird.
Yeah.
You didn't adopt him or anything.
But I
Get him
can't
from a
remember
shelter?
where we got him on to this day. I don't know. But we had him quite a while before I gave him to Howard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I got that in before we finished up.
I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I figured it might catch you by surprise.
Memory lane.
That someone remembered you had a bird.
Memory lane.
So, yeah, it's so funny. And it's funny that I couldn't remember who you had given him to because she had told me. And I'm like, damn it, wait.
Yep.
Dentist.
It was the dentist.
He's still there in Georgetown. He's semi-retired now, but he still goes in
Still
1 or 2
there.
days a week. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. And the bird's gone.
Call him up for emergency jobs.
Well, that's, I have my nephew now for that.
Oh,
My
yeah,
nephew's
it's
the Bruins.
nice.
He took over for my brother as the
Okay.
Bruins dentist.
Yeah.
And he's there
That's
now.
nice
so.
to have a dentist in the family.
Oh, yeah, it is. I keep getting bills. I never pay them, but that's all right. I told them
That's all right.
the chase is on. But that's all right. Rick, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it was great,
this
Mark.
has
Thank
just
you.
been-
Yes, thank you for coming on. This was awesome.
That was fun.
Yeah,
That
no,
was fun.
I mean, you're a legend.
Never
And
a lack of stories, and
Well,
you
for,
go
I mean,
on
for
and
me, and Gino's younger, but for me, I remember watching you play.
Yeah.
You know, on the black and white little TV
Oh,
in the
yeah.
kitchen.
Yeah.
No, I
'Cause my
remember-
mother wanted to watch her show.
Channel
so my
38, yeah.
my father and I turned
Listen,
Channel 38.
on. Yeah.
I wanted to be a goalie. I had a Pete when I was a little kid. I had a Pete Peters jersey.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So like I've been
was
watching
great.
Bruins since the womb.
Pete was great.
Yeah.
He was the goalie in the '84 Cup for Canada when we won it.
yeah.
Yep.
The main goalie, and he in the '83 when we finished first in the league. Yeah, he was
Yep.
a good goalie, and he I saw him. He came in for the 100-year anniversary. I
Oh,
can
nice.
hardly recognize him. It was great to see him again.
He was a goalie coach. He's been a goalie coach.
out in Edmonton.
Yeah, forever. Like I met him once in like the minors somewhere. I think it might have been Springfield or something. But he was like happened to be there. I'm like, dude, I used to wear your shirt.
Well, you can learn a lot from him.
yeah.
No,
He was a
yeah.
stand-up goalie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. My daughter's a goalie, so I'm fond of. I was always fond of goaltending.
Now they
but, yeah.
butterfly and all that. Whatever
I tell
they
her to
call it.
stay up. Like stay up as much as you
Everything changes. You
It
know,
does,
that'll be
right?
the next phase.
Yeah.
You know, Ken Dryden was the same. I mean, God rest his soul. We
Mm-hmm.
just lost Ken, and I think because he was so tall, he didn't want to go down.
No,
'Cause
he didn't get him back
Get
up.
back up.
Yeah, it's.
Who was the best goalie you ever played against?
I never liked any of them.
I didn't ask you if you liked him.
Well, you know, you can't have that much respect for people, you know, that you're supposed to score on.
Right.
I love that
always,
answer.
I
love that
always had
answer.
the ego, I
absolutely
guess.
love it.
The ones that screwed me up the most were goofy-handed goalies. You know, because you very often you do it so often, and you're going down and you know the right side, and you see the same thing over and over again, and then the gloves on the other hand, all of a sudden,
Right.
Because there weren't that many.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, Fuhrer was goofy-handed.
Yep.
One goalie, Pat Riggin, and he came to the Bruins for a short time, but Pat was a bit of a big mouth, and he played in Washington, right? And one time, I took a shot on him, and he caught it, and he goes, "Ow." I said, you know what, right? And I think I put 2 between his legs later. But, yeah, he catches it, he goes, "Ow." I didn't have the hardest shot in the world.
That's funny.
Pretty accurate sometimes.
But then
not
you
that-
still
not
buried
that
2
hard.
Genos by him. So
Yeah,
that's,
right. Thanks for
you know,
coming.
in
But
between the
no, I
5-0.
mean, there was good goal. I mean, obviously Dryden, but he had Savard, Robinson, LaPointe in front of him, and a team that spent a lot of time in your own end.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
So when you had a chance, you had to take advantage of it. And so a quick story about the Too Many Men on the Ice game is that in between, and nobody really knows the story because we lost, but in between the second and third period, we had our third goalie dressed in street clothes, which you always do in the playoffs. You carry 3 goalies for practice. By the name of Jim Seaweed Petty.
Okay.
And he just passed shortly time ago too. They nicknamed him Seaweed because of his hair, and he said his mother's name was Sheweed and his sister's name was Kelp. Honestly, I'm not making this up, but you know goalies, right?
Oh yeah.
So Jim comes down in between the second and third to the dressing room, and he comes over to me. He says, "Hey, I've been watching Dryden." He says he likes to put his paddle down. Meaning his hockey stick. right in front
paddle
along
down,
the
yep.
edge. Now, all the goalies do it today.
Yeah, paddle
But
down.
in those days, it wasn't all that common.
Right.
He says, if you get a chance, fire it to the far side. It'll go in under the knob. I go, like I didn't know that, right? Okay, Jim, thanks. Yeah.
Telling a
Thanks,
50
Steve.
goal scorer how to
the
score
stick-
goals.
The stick gets thinner, and okay, I got it. Right? So if you watch the goal I scored, made a 4-3 with 4 minutes to go. I was in the left wing corner because I was playing left wing that night. And I came around the back of the net on my backhand, and it must have flashed in my brain to fire it to the far side. But I was on the backhand, and I didn't get out far enough for the angle, and I did fire it. And Kenny had his paddle down and hit the inside of his blocker, and it went in. So I would have gave Jim all the credit in the world if we had won that friggin' game. And we lost, and nobody ever heard the story.
Right.
But it would have been a great story.
A lot of people don't even know the story of the Too Many Men.
I don't either, really, except I couldn't watch that game for 15 years.
No kidding.
Honestly, the most emotional game.
Yeah.
You know, to lose like that. And so the first time I watched it, I looked, I went, oh my God, I was on the ice. I had no memory. I saw 16 on the ice. So maybe it was me. I didn't know, nobody remembers who wasn't supposed to be on the ice.
On the ice, right.
Only Don says he remembers who he called up, and he's going to his grave with it. I said, well, that'd be good.
Yeah.
So I don't want to know now.
tell.
I don't want to know now. Or how it happened, because I had scored with 4 minutes to go. So it wasn't under the realm of possibility he'd call me back up. But I would never be on the last minute because Marcotte's always double shifting Lafleur, but Guy wasn't on the ice yet. So they hadn't put him out yet. And so somehow we ended up with 6 guys skating around for a good 10 seconds or more. And the ref didn't quick whistle it.
Right.
And
He give you some rope on those.
And
Yeah.
that only gave him the power play, and only Guy Lafleur could score on that goal that he scored off a drop pass at the hash marks on the boards off the inside of the pole. I felt so bad for Gilles Gilbert because he had played so great that series.
Yep.
And we would have played my old team, the New York Rangers, and that would have been really nice. And we were confident we could have beat them. They had a good team: Hedberg, Nilsson, Duguay. All those guys. Espo was still there, and who was in net, Davidson. So, but we felt we could have beat them, and actually they beat the Montreal in the game 1 at the Forum because Montreal was still pretty tired from our series, but they came back and rolled over 4 straight and beat them for their 3rd cup or 4th cup in a row. Yeah, so it was really, we came in within 2 minutes. And only Guy Lafleur, even Mike Bossy, I don't think could have scored from that place. And it was a planned shot. Lemaire went down that side and dropped it right at the right time. It wasn't moving.
Right.
And Guy was right in the right place to fire it. And, yeah, he was pretty awesome.
I believe one of our former guests, John Newberry, was on that team.
Who?
John Newberry.
Newberry was on the Canadians. He might have been
I don't
actually
remember that name.
before you.
Yeah.
He might have been before you.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he played.
Newberry.
He only played a year or two there, right?
I think so, yeah. But I know he played with Lafleur and Robinson and those guys, but maybe
Well, the first year in '77, nine of those guys went to the Hall of Fame. I mean, Yvon Cornway was still on the team.
Wow.
Jacques Lemaire,
Yeah.
Savard, Robinson, Lapointe, Dryden, Schott. Pretty formidable. We did our best, but we didn't get blown out. We just couldn't.
Right.
And then we won 2 in '78 at home. Bobby Schmutz in overtime in Game 4, and probably the loudest I'd ever heard the old Garden. I thought the roof was going to come off. But
That
we could
place used to
never
shake.
win in Montreal. That was our problem.
Right.
And then finally, '88, we won Game 2.
Right.
Reggie stood on his head.
Yep.
The thing that
That
won
the
us.
one when he does the helmet and the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that game. Yeah.
That was.
The thing that helped us win it is that Michael Tellman broke Brian Richet's wrist with a slash. Richet was a
right.
big goal scorer.
Riche was nasty.
That's right.
So we come back home, and I scored a shorthanded goal, and we won in Game 3. And so we were up 3-1 going into Montreal. And I knew my time was up. I wasn't playing regular last year. But I had a good playoff. And I went down and blocked a shot, killing a penalty. I went in and made it down the ice and scored shorthanded, but I tore some cartilage in my left knee. And the next day it blew up, and I couldn't dress for Game 5. Ugh. I just couldn't skate fast enough. I didn't want to hinder the team. But, I was the only guy left on the team from those 70s teams.
Right.
Terry was coach, and
Yep.
I was the only player. And I wanted to be on that ice, up 3-1 going into the Forum. And I couldn't. So I'm in the stands, and we're up 3-1 in the third period. And I'm still nervous. There's like 4 minutes to go, and I'm still nervous because something always happens.
It does. In Boston, it does. Yes, it does.
And then Cam rolled over Sabota and went in and put it in the top corner against Rouen when we're up 4-1 with a couple of minutes left. I said, we're going to win this, finally. So that was kind of my Stanley Cup, as it turned out.
Yeah.
Finally, and not only us, but the first time the Bruins have beat a Montreal team in 45 years in a playoff series.
Wow.
So it was, getting rid of all the
Montreal
bad karma. And
since
then they've won more than I think over those following years.
Yeah. Montreal for me is like the Yankees. I fucking hate both of them.
I refereed a game in the Forum. It was unreal.
Yeah.
During the lockout, they had the American League teams play in those buildings. It was so fun.
People ask me, what was your favorite place to play? I always say Montreal Forum.
I say that's the best ice I've ever been on.
Mainly because maybe you didn't win that much, but they made you be the best you could be. Because you had to be the best you could be. You couldn't make mistakes.
Right.
And, so unfortunately, we always seem to get in penalty problems. They get the power play. They tie it up.
Well, Canadian referees, what do you expect?
The fans got them at least one power play a game.
Oh, yeah.
And in those days in the old Forum, as you know, there was no glass.
Right.
The fans were right there. So Don Cherry is right here, and the fans are yelling at him. There's no glass.
Right. Oh, it's wild. Yeah.
And the boards were wooden. I don't know, twice I couldn't find my bench because I get hit and I didn't have a helmet on. My head would hit the glass. The boards wouldn't give.
Move.
They're made of wood.
Give.
Maple Leaf Gardens and Montreal Forum, where they're made of wood.
Jesus. I can't imagine playing without a helmet.
No.
That's insane to me. And you bring up shorthanded goals. We should point out, you led the Bruins' history in shorthanded goals for a long time.
Well, until Brad Marchand.
Well, Brad Marchand broke it, but
I didn't even know. In those days, they didn't really keep stats. I don't think I knew that till I was already out a couple of years.
Really?
And then I said I beat Derek by 1. I had no idea,
That's hilarious.
That was only by chance.
Well, you had the most points in a playoff series, too, 19, right?
Well, yeah, that was a good series. Barry had like 18 or something. He was my centerman.
Yeah.
We tore it apart, and that series went 7 against Buffalo. But we always seemed to come out on top against Buffalo, as Montreal always seemed to come out on top against us.
Right.
So yeah, it's still an NHL record. I always said, one that Wayne didn't get.
Well, hey, he didn't.
Yeah.
You have one that he doesn't.
I can see McDavid getting there. He's fucking good.
Oh yeah, he had that 1 year. They were putting up the stats, and I was on the list there for a while. And I don't think he ever got.
No,
to it,
he didn't. But he's if anyone's going to touch it, it could be him.
Yeah, I think I ended up with one more point than Barry. Barry, and
yeah, he had a great.
Barry had it unbelievable. The two of us were. It's a shame that we couldn't do it in the finals to win a cup.
Right.
I'm not sure why, but it just never happened that way. Yep.
It's all about bounces.
Mm-hmm. Well, luck has something to do with it. And breaks.
Yep.
We certainly got some breaks against some teams and not against others.
Right.
Like I said, against Montreal, finally, not that I liked breaking Stéphane Richer's wrist, but that was something that happened that certainly helped us achieve, after 45 years, so.
I think
maybe you should have done it to Guy Lafleur. We went.
Yeah, right.
Right.
No, it was a great run. The fans in the old Garden were great. They're right on top of you. You were,
Nothing like that building.
My father had split season tickets, and if I got my homework done, I was going.
At 12-5, just sat 12-5, and you could hear everybody in there, and for the most part, they're always favorable.
Right.
They gave you a break, as long as you worked hard. And Don Cherry always had those teams, and it carried over into the 80s. Wayne Cashman took over as captain. Captain Cash, one of my all-time favorite Bruins.
Oh, yeah.
His numbers should be up there.
He was awesome.
Only a Bruin his whole career. 2 Stanley Cups in the 70s.
Tough as nails.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he even right to the end. I remember in a brawl against the Islanders, him and Gary Howitt going at it, and Howitt was a tough little character. Cash had that left. He punch him, and
He'd shake his elbow pad off, forget it. It was over.
Mr. Man.
Yep.
Mr. Man.
Why is his number not up there?
Well, the main reason was he didn't get along with management. Him and Harry didn't really see eye to eye.
Okay.
And those are the people that usually would do it for you. And since then, he never played with Cam. I played with Cam.
Right.
It was nice that after all these years, he decided to do it. I think mainly because so many years had passed and nobody had really stayed here long enough to put any numbers up. No. And all of a sudden, Bergie and Marchand and those guys were starting to come.
Right.
And you saw that I was still hanging in there at 4th place for this and 5th place for that after 30 years. And if we're going to retire these guys, then maybe we should put Middleton in. He's going to be the only guy that's not in. Everybody around them,
people are
above and below,
records that you hold.
So it was nice after all that time that he would think like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty special. That's awesome.
But I played with Cam, so it's a little different when you're a teammate of someone.
Yeah.
And that's not the reason, but it certainly helped.
You 100% deserve to
be up there.
Yes.
And Wayne didn't have that. And I would hope that one day, hopefully, and soon, he should be the next guy in.
Yeah.
But
I would hope.
Yep.
Everybody
that played with him, and probably a lot of guys that played against him would agree with you, too.
I would think so.
One great Wayne Cashman story. There was a guy, I always forget his name. It might come to me. He got traded from the California Golden Seals to the Bruins. And I've only talked to him once, and we were somewhere, and he told me this story about Wayne. And he says, whenever he was a centerman for the Golden Seals, he said, every time we played the Broad Street Bullies, Clark would start his crap, and then Schultz and those guys would jump in, and it'd be a brawl. And we didn't have a very tough team, so we get kicked out of us. And he says, now I get traded to Boston. He says, on our first trip back into the Spectrum, he goes, I look left and I see Terry O'Reilly. I look right and I see Wayne Cashman. I'm thinking, it might be different tonight. So he turns to Cash and he tells him the story about Clark. And he says, it'd probably be different tonight, right, Cash? Cash says, yeah, just watch. Right? So he says, I'm watching Cash in warm-up. And he's skating around, right, and taking how the people, the players line up at center ice to shoot on the net.
Yeah.
He says he's watching Cash, and he goes right around behind Schultz standing in line. And he spears him right in the back of the leg in warm-up. He said, Schultz turned around, didn't do anything because there's no refs or linesmen on the ice.
Yeah.
And they knew Cash was a little crazy. And he said he didn't do anything. Well, Cash goes, just watch.
Didn't he, Chris Nyland, he had a problem in the warm-ups when, not Chris Nyland, sorry, Paul Stewart. When Paul Stewart fought the Big Three at the Garden, I believe in warm-ups, Cashman speared him too.
Yeah, I think he does say that.
Oh, he might have.
I think he
what
did
happened
say
there,
that.
we were in Quebec, and Robbie Fatorik had high stick Bobby Smots and cut his tongue or something. And I know Robbie really wasn't that type of a player, but they thought there was going to be repercussions. So when we go back and play the next night or 2 nights later in Boston, they called up Stu because they knew something was probably going to happen. And I remember Stewie says, because I know Stewie over the years,
Yeah, yeah.
afterward, says to Bobby Miller, tell the boys I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Tell the boys I'm ready. And he fought, I think, Secord, Jonathan, and
O'Reilly, wasn't
I
it?
don't know if he fought Terry or not.
Was it
Maybe
Winsink? I think it was Winsink.
I don't know if he fought Terry. But
I think it was Winsink.
at 3 fights, you're out. And
Yeah.
that was all in one period.
Yeah.
So he never played again. But
Imagine
that was why they brought him up.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Stewie. He
was our first guest, yeah.
Yeah, first guest, episode
I haven't
2.
seen him in a while, but I hope
Yeah.
he's doing well.
He's down the Cape.
Yeah.
Down on the Cape. So doing all
But
right.
that was the story on that game. That's one period.
Love it.
Tell the boys I'm ready.
Giddy up.
He was ready. Nifty, this was awesome.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's great. Thanks
thank
for
you.
having me.
Incredible.
I always like talking hockey.
And our endings usually do this. They go on and on and on. 'Cause something
Yeah.
comes up.
No,
And
this
then
was great.
something else comes up, and then something else comes up. But it's just always a pleasure to have someone that I got to watch, looked up to. You know, I would never try to emulate your game. I didn't have the hands or the scoring touch, but I was more of a Kenny Linsman guy.
Oh, you really?
I'd
Yeah,
stab
get
you
under people's.
Before I,
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
yeah.
I was a Don Sweeney type, small defenseman, kill
yeah,
people.
Yeah.
I wore 13 because
I won 32.
Kenny Linsman.
I
yeah.
won 32 for Sweeney.
Yeah. So
Have you had Kenny on here?
we haven't had Kenny on. Well, I've had some funny stuff with him with the alumni stuff and out in Montana. He
Right.
was out in
Yeah.
Montana.
He went to that.
Yeah, yeah. So
he still plays. He's in good shape.
Yeah, yeah. No,
He's a surfer. He lives in the same town I live in.
He lives up there.
He tried to get me to surf once. I almost drowned. It's not a sport you started in your 40s and 50s.
Typically, no.
Not me, no.
Typically, no.
I couldn't get my neck off the board.
My daughter can get up. She's pretty good.
Well, another
Yeah.
a former guest, a good friend of ours, Jimmy Dunn, is up there.
Oh,
He's a
Jimmy,
surfer,
yeah.
So
Know Jimmy well.
yeah, so he's one of our best friends here.
Yeah.
And he was on.
Funny man.
Yeah.
Just hilarious.
I met all those guys, not Jimmy necessarily, but Lenny
Lenny.
Yeah.
and Donnie Gavin,
yeah.
all the Ding Ho guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Back in the 70s. And,
Yeah,
know
'cause
them,
that was-
and love them all. Kenny
Yeah.
Rogerson, and
Yep.
Steve Sweeney.
Sweeney.
Oh, man.
Noxie.
The
they were
best.
all- yeah.
The best. You know.
They don't make them like that anymore.
I called Mike Clark up. They got hold of you
Yeah.
for my buddy's birthday party.
Tommy's
So,
birthday party, yeah.
You know,
And I appreciate that.
It's such a great group of people.
Yeah.
Always want to help. If you ever need anything, let me know.
100%.
Lenny came to my golf tournament many years, and
Yep.
you know, he flew in by helicopter from Martha's Vineyard to be there at 9:00 one morning. I mean, that's
That
the way
is
these
excellent.
guys are.
Yeah,
I
he
wonder
rolls.
whose
I love the way he
helicopter he
rolls.
stole
I
for
don't
that.
know.
Right?
I don't know who it was. That's the way these guys are.
Yeah.
Used to have one at Ferncroft, and Steve Sweeney showed up a week early.
That's unusual because usually he's a
Usually
week
a week
late.
Pro was told to come back next week.
Well, can I play around now?
That's
But
awesome.
they're always there to help out
Yeah.
any charity, and you know, I always loved all those guys.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. Well, it's been awesome. I mean, we could keep going.
Yeah,
I actually
really could.
I have a show tonight. I have to
And the,
go
the Sox are on in a half
up
hour.
in Ames.
Oh, are they? All right, let's go.
So, but this has been great. And
thank you.
And we have to thank before we go. We'll thank our sponsors. Now that we have a few, the Referees Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs, and our new sponsor, Damon Financial LLC. Want to thank them. They've been helping families and business owners all over the country build and protect their wealth. You can call 508-321-2101 to schedule a call or a meeting today, and you can find them online, and you'll find the link to them in the description of this episode. So Mike Damon and Damon Financial LLC want to thank you for your support. If I had any wealth, I would set up a meeting. But we need a couple more
We'll get
sponsors
there.
for that. I want to remind you to like and subscribe on YouTube. Smash those buttons. Follow us on the social medias, the Instagram, the Facebook, and of course,
The TikTok.
want to thank AOA Studios here for the great job they do. Mike Scarfo and the crew. It's a great place if you ever want to tape anything. You should come here and do it here. So for Bruins legend Rick Middleton, for my legend partner Gino Benda Jr., who
You can't call me a legend in front of him. Like, there's no legend.
well, I was
here.
just trying to. I was trying to
All
make
different sorts of legends.
I was
Trust
trying,
me.
your dad might be.
Yeah, there you go.
I was trying to make you feel better. I didn't know what
Appreciate
to
it,
do.
my
I thought I gave Rick a big title. I thought I'd,
We're good.
All right, my shitty partner, Gino Benda Jr. No, I love you, man. For these guys, I'm Mark Riley. We'll see you next time right here on Chirping Zebras.